is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Have an outside line, please.
I'm president. I want to protect the women of our country. I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not.
That's very big of you, Donny. Thanks. Dino these are texts and tweets and such from last night. Dino says, well, at least we now know who Nelly the elephant voted for. Trump, Trump, Trump. I am very big with the dromedary community, particularly the white ones. Gary says, why is Jennifer Lopez on Graham Norton's show wearing parts of a vacuum cleaner? I don't know. I didn't see it. But I want to now. Got a picture. What a photograph. Ian says, Trump can only win when he's against a woman. He must be fuming that he can't beat a man. Really? I'm not sure about that.
I'm doing great with black men.
He's doing great with black men, Melania.
I don't care.
She's not that bothered. Ian says, Trump can only... No, I just read that one. I've got deja vu. Must cut and delete when I go through. Like a professional. Steve says, Trump's looking more confused and doddery than Biden did 4 years ago. I wouldn't be surprised if he's unable to reach the end of his forthcoming 4-year term. 4 year? I don't think we'll get rid of him in 4 years. I think it's going to be 8 years minimum. And then he'll probably regenerate himself as an artificial intelligence robot to come and lead us for the rest of our lives.
Affirmative.
Some sort of AI thing. Nick texts about yesterday. He says, I'm late for the show. I was listening to some Nina Simone and Ray Charles.
Groovy.
Well, that is an excellent reason to be late. 2 excellent reasons to be late, as a matter of fact. Nina Simone and Ray Charles.
Yowza.
How about that? What a combination. Patrick says, this caller is correct. Which caller? I love that when people respond to what I'm saying in real time as though we're having a conversation, and then they tweet, and then, some hours later, or in fact a whole day later in this case, I actually get around to it and I have no idea what they're talking about. This caller is correct.
What?
No idea. Well, read on, you might find out, you idiot. Kamala is a lovely lady, but didn't come over with the right amount of confidence or power. Oh, please, stop apportioning blame to those that don't deserve to be blamed. Got nothing to do with her, and it's got nothing to do with George Clooney, and didn't have anything to do with Tim Waltz and the way he waved, or the way he walked, or the way he spoke, or any of the above. It didn't have anything to do with people other than the ones that voted for Adolf Hitler. You could have come into the light, but instead they decided to go into the dark.
The American dream is dead.
Is dead, yeah.
Bing bong.
Adolf calling. John texts, the American pundits keep talking about the Hispanic and black young men votes. How do they know what type of voter they were? Isn't the voting anonymous over there like it is in the UK? Yeah, but you just ask them when they come out. It's like a poll, John. It's just exactly like a poll. Excuse me, I'm filling out a poll. Can you tell me how you voted? Or, when I was filling out a poll, worked briefly for a polling company, and, God, it's excruciating. They asked you to go out into the street and ask a question of a representative number of people. And so they give you targets. You got to ask a question from somebody with a certain age and a certain sex and a certain class. Well, that's a difficult one. What do you do for a living? Oh, that's not rich enough. You're a C2. I need an AB. And then you've got to collate them all and, fill out the numbers and add up the columns and divide by 3 and multiply by the number you first thought of. And it's just excruciating.
Boring.
So what I did was repair to the pub and make it up.
What?
Yep, made it up. And then sent it in and got my £8 for the day. Or thereabouts. Paul says, when people tried to warn the world about Hitler, who did they compare him to? Yeah, that's a good question. And was this before we were waiting for someone to slice our bread? Yeah, why is that the arbiter of things that are incredibly useful and convenient? Well, it's more than that, isn't it? The best thing since sliced bread. I mean, that implies that it is one of the greatest inventions of humankind. It's just bread that's sliced. They haven't added anything to it. I mean, any old chump can slice some bread with a knife that's sharp and serrated. Easy. I don't get it. And it makes me furiously angry. Rob says Trump will end the Ukraine and Israeli war. Yeah, and then he'll start one in Lebanon and Iran. He's already started one in America. Forthcoming attractions. A lot more war. A lot more misery, a lot more death, a lot more climate change, a lot more of everything. A lot more of everything that neither you want nor any of the people that voted for Donald Trump actually thought they were voting for. Still, they'll get everything they didn't vote for in large amounts. I want to talk about Meghan Markle. Why do you want to talk about her? Leave her alone. She ain't done nothing. I want to talk about Meghan Markle because the Mail. What is it with that newspaper and that woman? They seem to be utterly and completely and totally obsessed. I mean, I don't read The Sun. I wouldn't be surprised if they were equally obsessed, but it seems almost like stalking behaviour. What is going on with them? They can't go through a day without writing 3 or 4 different articles about why Meghan Markle is the world's worst human. And this one was just, its headline, Does Meghan Markle have the worst judgment of anyone in the entire world? Well, let's think about that for a second.
No.
No, of course she doesn't. Well, I'll get into that in a moment. I also want to talk... maybe I'll do this right at the end of the show because it's a bit of a downer. I want to talk about veterans' homelessness. Please don't call about that now. There was an article about it in the Mirror, which should shame us all. I want to talk about a supermarket that made boffo profits but claims that they haven't got any money to give staff a pay rise. Not management. Not management. There's always enough money to give management a pay rise.
Correct.
But there's not enough money to give the staff a pay rise. Very, very sorry about that.
I am very sorry that I screwed up.
Yeah, totally
screwed up. I mean, I am so sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am. I'm sorry.
Yeah, who cares? Lindsay says, apropos of my rant last night about how Americans in the 50s and 60s were living it up and they probably had the best time of their lives and they've been ruining the loss of that lifestyle ever since. And then fast forward to today and you are led by the tangerine twiddler.
Oh, shut up!
And I said, one of the things that Americans had were fridges big enough to, about the same size as a flat in this country. I mean, they were so wealthy, and that seems to have dissipated since the 1960s because wages have essentially flatlined, while all of the wealth that has been created by society has just been sucked up like through a vacuum cleaner hose by the richest in the world, which is why we've had more billionaires now, and everybody else is just about barely scraping by. I mean, the wealth has gone somewhere, and you haven't got it. And most everybody else on Earth hasn't got it, apart from a vanishingly few number of people who all seem to support Donald Trump at the moment, as though their wealth depends on it. Anyway, Lindsay says the Americans had fridges big enough to hide a prime minister in. Now, which prime minister could they possibly be talking about, Bodge?
I can't comment
on that.
Blah.
Can't comment on that without a payment of the requisite fee. And then he'll write you a column. Paw! I didn't know I was going to do that. I almost popped my own eyeballs out. I don't know, he does it. Well, he does look like that, though, doesn't he?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
That's the result of going paw a lot. Just puts your hair on end. He used to be the Prime Minister of this country. Can you believe that?
The great big greedy nincompoop.
Yeah, that great big greedy nincompoop. And I wouldn't put money on him not being the Prime Minister again. He'll be maybe he'll be the Vice Prime Minister. The Prime Minister of Vice. That's about right, ain't it, Bodge? Yeah, the Prime Minister of Vice, and the Prime Minister himself will be
Nigel Farage is not fit and proper to be in government.
A man who's not fit and proper to be in government. I stand with the people of Lewes, by the way. Excellent guy this year. I mean, really outstanding work. Shame they had to burn it. Look it up on the World Wide Web if you haven't seen it. It is priceless. This anonymous text says, one of my cats has been much more playful than usual since Wednesday morning. Either he's a Republican or he's or he's trying very hard to cheer me up. Well, if it's a cat, it's probably a Nazi. So, I mean, cats do have Nazi tendencies. That's just a fact. Look it up. Get David Attenborough on the phone and he'll explain that for us in great detail. He's not picking up? Well, keep trying. Send a cab round, wake him up. Tim texts, I just walked 2 miles to pick up my hire car that's been booked for 2 weeks. It's not there. What I can't understand is why is Meghan Markle getting involved with car hire? Yeah, thanks a lot, Meghan Markle. No! You see what you've done? Interfering with our business again. Why can't you just leave us alone? Gateshead. Hello, Simon.
Hi.
Yes, Simon.
Nick, you tweeted after the Trump election result that the human race has peaked.
Yes.
And it only remains to be agreed when. And you
That's
suggested
correct. Yeah. I suggested 1971 when Chirpy Chirpy Cheep Cheep topped the charts for 5 weeks in a row.
Rock and roll!
That was the moment at which the human race had peaked, and it's been all downhill since then.
Exactly. But I want to take issue with you.
Uh-oh.
Because you pride yourself on your excellence in spelling.
Yes. Spelling.
Exactly.
Ask me anything.
Last week we had a special session of spelling with Nick.
Oh, yeah.
But you spelled cheap. C-H-E-A-P.
Cheap. Yes.
Which is the wrong kind of cheap. That's cheap as in not expensive.
Right. Well, how much does this cost? Nothing at all, which makes it cheap. Next.
That's all I had to say.
Well, it sounds like you said it. Thanks a lot, Simon.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
What are you talking about?
Well, you know, this and that. Nothing much in particular so far, but I have forthcoming attractions. I want to talk about Meghan Markle, because the press just can't stop doing that for some bizarre reason. I mean, she hasn't done anything lately. Name one single solitary thing that woman has done lately that would require acreage of press. I mean, they had to practically build another wing on the internet to fit all of the stories about her not doing anything in which they had to fit all the stories about her not doing anything, is probably a more correct way of saying it. Korect. Correct. Aldo texts, I got a very chilled blackberry jam in my fridge right now, kind of purple rather than pink, though. Which may have had something to do with what we were briefly perhaps talking about last night, but I have absolutely no idea. Don't ask me. I just work here. Gaz texts, did you see online today that Nigel Farage looks like a young Nick Hayward? And there is, helpfully posted, probably my glamorous assistant searched that one up for me because I wouldn't have been able to picture him in my mind. But there he is. There is a picture of Nick Hayward. And doesn't he look like Nigel Farage?
No.
I mean, they're both humans, I suppose, but they're oh God, what's the word? They're the similarity ends. Nigel Farage looks like a young Nick Hayward. No, he doesn't. What about him looks like him? Riddle me that. What song did Nick Hayward do, by the way? Was it, Wouldn't It Be Good To... Because that is a fantastic song. Was it, are you sure that was it?
Yeah, that's Nick Hayward.
Wait,
it's not Nick
Kershaw. I think it's Nick Kershaw.
Right.
Yes, because that is one of the great pop songs of all time. And people poo-poo it. Can you believe that? Because he was, he was one of those sort of like boy band types. And they poo-poo that song, which is the wrong thing to do. Wouldn't It Be Good is one of the great pop songs of all time, and I'll take no argument about that. It's a fact. Nick Hayward, wasn't he Haircut 100? And they did Orange Juice, or that was somebody else, wasn't it? Oh, God. I hope you're writing this stuff down, kids, because this is important. 0345 6060 973. Wanstead. Hello, Sophie.
Hello, Nick. I'm going to have to correct you twice now before I move on to Trump.
Good. All right.
So that wasn't Nick Haywood. It was Howard Jones, and it's one of my favourite songs as well.
Which one?
The one you said, "Wouldn't it be nice?"
No, that wasn't Howard Jones. No, wouldn't it be good to be in your shoes?
Your shoes. Yes, that's Howard Jones.
No. It wasn't Howard Jones. No, it wasn't Howard Jones. It was Nick Kershaw. I think it was Nick Kershaw. I think I'm completely correct in every respect. I will look that up while you wait, caller. One moment, please.
Nick Haywood was with Haircut 100.
Nick
and he had...
Haywood. Who did Orange Juice? Nick Haywood. Wouldn't it be good?
No, it was Howard Jones. I didn't know it was called Orange Juice. I couldn't remember.
Wouldn't it be good? Wouldn't it be good by Nick Haywood, you idiot? I just looked it up on the World Wide Web. Any fool could have done that. Wasting my time.
Alternative facts.
It's not an alternative fact. It's a falsity. It is fake news.
Okay, I know I'm right about the next thing.
Yeah, I bet you aren't. Go on and lay it on me, baby.
Alanis Morissette song.
Yeah.
I don't think which is one of my favourite songs. You were talking about it yesterday.
Yes.
Isn't it ironic?
Yeah,
so
and almost none of the things that you mentioned are actually ironic.
If you put them in context, they are. So when she says it's like rain on your wedding day, she means because the last 100 days were sunny. So on your wedding day...
No, she didn't mean anything of the sort. If she meant that, then she should have said it. You can't imply something and without actually saying it to back up your assertion that what you're saying is ironic. It's completely wrong. Orange Juice was the band and Rip It Up was the song.
Rock and roll!
Yeah, I'll just look that one up for you as well. God, I'm doing so much work. I'm totally exhausted. Oh, I need a cocktail and a massage.
Rip It Up and Start Again. I love that song. But the irony, it's like Sod's Law. So
but that's not irony. That's different to irony. That's just unlucky.
Well, maybe Sod's Law is unlucky, but that's what she meant. It's inferential meaning, Nick.
No, it's not inferential meaning. She just doesn't know what irony means, which is ironic because she wrote a song about it.
And her other song that I love is King of Pain.
Never mind about that. What's that got to do with anything?
No, but I was trying to segue out of the fact that you were saying I was incorrect.
Okay, let's do a crash fade, like they say in the business. Well, I don't know whether they do say that in the business anymore. Do they crash fade? We used to be slamming one song into the next.
No, Trump. I was so depressed. Yeah. I didn't have the heart to ring.
I was more than depressed. I was... it really quite affected me badly. I woke up at 5 o'clock. I said this yesterday. About 5 o'clock in the morning, both nights after the result, and I could not get back to sleep because my mind started whirring about how dreadful it was. I mean, I just can't quite get my head around it, other than, like everything else in life, he cheated his face off, and all those allegations that he was throwing around about the Democrats were cheating big time in this place and that place. And he's been saying it for 4 years straight, hasn't he? Everyone was cheating, and with him, every single accusation is a confession. So he must have cheated. We just don't know how yet.
Completely, and he bamboozles his followers.
Yeah. Well, they're easily bamboozled.
I love the poorly educated.
Very easy to bamboozle.
And Nick, I'm so disappointed in Robert Kennedy Jr. showing his support behind him.
Are you? Robert Kennedy Jr., you're disappointed in his actions. Robert Kennedy Jr., that guy.
No, that's true, but when you consider his lineage and the family he came from and his father and his uncle...
his family has got nothing to do with it. You judge someone on what they do, not what their dad did.
This is true. So that will hold well for Trump's son. What's his name? So we won't judge him on his dad's actions. But
I'm thinking of making an exception in his case. I've decided now to save time later. Yeah, I think any apple that falls off that tree is tainted. Yeah, just leave it on the ground. Let it rot.
There are only two things I'm looking forward to if he hasn't nuked the whole world before the 4 years are up. Number one, the merriment that we'll get from your show, which is absolutely brilliant anyway, but this just adds a little fission to it. Yeah. And the other thing is
you can butter me up all you like, but it was Nick Kershaw. And I'm sticking to that.
And the other thing is that...
Yes.
No, it was Howard Jones.
No, it wasn't.
He said he would release the unreleased files on the JFK assassination.
Yeah, sure he will. Yeah, and he'll do the UFO files, and he'll do the Lolita Airway files, and all of that stuff. Yeah, sure he will. Yeah, because he's a trustworthy person. He likes to tell the truth. There's Donald Trump. You should always believe him.
Believe me.
Believe him.
But Nick, why? I have no words. This is a non-call because I'm so depressed.
There's a film called
why?
Idiocracy. I keep saying this, and if it should be top of the hit parade right now of films. People should be watching this as homework for what is... it's not even what is about to happen. It's happening right now. It used to be a comedy about the future, and I used to say that it was a documentary about the present. But it's more than that now. It's the actual present. It's not a documentary. It is happening to us right now. Watch Idiocracy. That's what is happening now. We're living it at this time.
Is that what you call art imitating life?
Well, I wouldn't call it art exactly. I'd call it a funny film if you have prepared yourself.
Well, I am an idiot.
Oh no, not that one. I meant this one.
Booze.
If you prepare yourself sufficiently with booze, then you'll find it amusing and chilling. Because like I say, it's what's happening right now. We are living in an idiocracy.
And it will be really interesting to see the nincompoops that he brings into his cabinet.
Oh, well, maybe like Kemi Badenoch, he will hire all the best people. all the best people. I endorse Kemi Badenoch's choices, every single one of them. Well done, Kemi. You keep it up. Just keep doing what you're doing.
I think we're living the same thing is happening to us politically. We're choosing the most inappropriate people.
No, I think we got away with it last time, just by the skin of our teeth. We actually voted for some adults and some grown-ups who... They might not be perfect people, and it might not be the perfect party, and the results might not be perfect, but they're a hell of a lot better than what we have been living through these past 14 years, and what might have happened to us had the results gone in a different direction. And next time around, I would not be remotely surprised if somebody who is as unsuitable to lead a country as Donald Trump were elected the Prime Minister of this country.
I'm a nutcase.
Mentioning no names.
Oh, no. Completely. I'm a supporter of Labour, but I mean the shadow cabinet. Goodness only knows.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that would put the cream on the top of that cake would be if You Know Who made a return.
The great big greedy nincompoop.
If the great big greedy nincompoop waddled back into our lives.
Look, I'm still bamboozled. Why, America, would you do this?
Well, it's a function of being poorly educated. The smart people voted for Kamala Harris, and the people who did not go to school and get any qualifications, and they certainly didn't go to college or university, as we would call it, they all voted for Donald Trump. So, like I said, it's an idiocracy.
It really is. I would love some Republicans to ring up and justify their choice.
No. Yeah, well, you might like that, Sophie. They can call your show. How does that sound? Nick Kershaw, by the way. Thanks a lot. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. Nigel Farage looks like Nick Hayward. In what parallel I think that Gaz, who sent that text in, I think Gaz seriously needs to go to Specsavers. Treat yourself, Gaz. 0345. Other spectacle providers are available. I'm pretty sure about that. 0345 6060. Have you seen the furore on social media about Boots' Christmas ad? Wow. You know, I do a podcast of best of. It's a best of. It's called the Nick Abbot Habit. Comes out on a Monday. It's 30 minutes of old clips, which I put together with my own sticky fingers. And I was going through 4 years ago. There was this massive fuss on both online and in the press about how outraged people were that a black family was in Sainsbury's Christmas advert. And they were saying, right, that's it, I'm boycotting this store and I'm never coming here again. And people were expressing that thought out loud, like a lot of them. And it was newspaper reports saying this woke nonsense has to stop. Fury as supermarket puts black people on our TV screen. And listening to it just 4 years ago, just recently, as I was putting those clips together, I thought, God, it seems like, how far back have I gone? Did I go back by mistake to the 1970s to pull clips from a show that I was doing then? No, it was just 4 years ago. And they're still doing it. Amazing. We haven't moved forward an inch. At most, you could say that we've become less comfortable expressing those thoughts out loud. But other than that, what a way to run a planet, eh?
Dreadful.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Oh, hello there. Very nice to meet you.
Kevin texts, why, when young people voted left and care about climate change, the media called them snowflakes and inexperienced. But when they voted right and against immigration, all of a sudden we need to start listening to them. Yep. And Pete says they should stick 90% tax on anyone that has more money than me, says Pete. Yeah. And on the subject of the coverage, I think it was on Channel 4 when they had Mr. Blobby.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And Stormy Daniels was on there. And I was wondering why they had Stormy Daniels on there and whether it was just a stunt. Brian texts, Stormy Daniels was genuinely brilliant. She has an awful lot of political insight. And I don't know whether that's true or not, whether he's being sarcastic or whether it's actually correct. And Paul says, are you sure you meant stunt? Here's a caller in Harrow called Jonathan. Harrow?
Evening, Nick.
Yes, Jonathan. How are you?
Not good evening. I didn't say good, I just said evening. Because,
yes, not a good evening.
It was the best of times, it was the worst of times.
Well, make your mind up, mate.
Like you, on the election morning night, I was telling your boy, the call handler.
Yes.
No, yes. I was telling him that, like you, I'm sorry to hear about your mental problems and the insomnia.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I also did not get to sleep until 6 a.m.
Right. I'm very unhappy to hear that.
Yeah, because I was, I've got lots of, court issues, nothing dodgy, and some international property matters. Mm-hmm. And to top all of that off, whenever I get stressed, I drink tea, coffee, Coke, and then obviously that helps the insomnia, or doesn't help the insomnia.
Yeah. That puts you right out, yeah.
And I'm not a Wookiee, but I'm so shocked as to what happened to America that for the first time, I was listening to Nick Ferry, and honestly, I didn't get to sleep until 6.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, with tension, you feel tension in your, forehead and also your stomach and bowels. Mm-hmm. And that morning or night of the election, for the first time in years, I messed the bed up, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a little bit too much information there, Jonathan.
Can I talk about Meghan Markle quickly?
Yes, please.
Because I'm rereading Prince Harry's book, and he keeps referring to headlines from the papers where they call him Sicko Prince, which I thought is quite funny, because he is a Sicko Prince, not to be offensive. But he's very brave. He was in the army, isn't it?
Yes.
But she is a witch, because she don't talk to her old daddy. She should really make up with him.
Right.
But I know you're happy with the UK situation, but not with the America situation.
Well, happy is a bit of a stretch, but less disappointed than I might have been. Can we put it like that?
haven't made much mention of Olukemi Olufonto Agekode Agedok. That's her birth name.
It's what now?
That's her birth name.
Right. What is it?
Olukemi Olufonto Adegoke.
Right. Okay.
That's Kemi Badenoch's birth name. I know you don't like her.
Well, she seems, from my limited experience, to be a relatively unlikable person, all things considered.
I was meant to go to America this week.
Oh, yes.
To the San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
But my travel documents did not come through, so I instead went to the cinema and watched that Joker 2.
How was that for you?
It's I wouldn't recommend it because it's essentially it's like you saw the first Joker.
Yes.
The narcissistic psychopath criminal from New York who is destroying America.
Yes.
Not listener with material, but
right.
It writes itself.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of the worst films I've ever seen.
Is it?
And Joker 1 was one of the best, which I saw in Croydon in the cinema that's now been demolished. But, no, Joker 2...
You went to see a film in Croydon. Was that wise?
They all talk in the audience in the Croydon.
Right. Well, you're lucky you didn't get shot.
Yeah, it happens. Stabbings are up in Croydon, but that's probably bringing the mood down.
Little bit.
And in the Joker 2, they have lots of serious court case scenes, and then suddenly Lady Gaga comes out during a murder trial, and she goes, "I'll sing you a song, I'll sing you a song," like she sings,
Yes.
Then witness for the prosecution comes along, and then I don't know the man's name, but the actor who plays the Joker, him and Lady Gaga start doing dancing and singing again, so it doesn't really work. But
you shouldn't have paused after the word "doing" because my mind started spinning. He and Lady Gaga were doing, and then there was like this echoing pause, and then you completed the sentence. And I'm glad in the way that you completed the sentence. I'm happy with that.
Phoenix, as I said.
Phoenix.
But can I make a last point on the election, actually, a substantive point?
And finally.
Because I know look, Kamala was, I think, a good candidate. Hillary Clinton, with her baggage, she should never have been chosen. Have you watched Michael Moore's film Fahrenheit 11/9? Not Fahrenheit 9/11, Fahrenheit 11/9.
Maybe a long time ago when it came out.
He essentially, it's only 8 years ago, but he essentially is saying that the Democrats do not listen to the voices of the working people.
Mm-hmm.
Like and James O'Brien's hero, the man who is rescuing Britain. I love him so much. Keir Starmer.
Yes.
Now when I'm out in public and at dinner parties and things, people actively walk away from me because I'm being discriminated against because I'm bald and obese. I'm almost charisma-less enough to be in Keir's cabinet.
Yes. Can you start on Monday?
Yeah, well, but my thing is that, my last point was on the election that, I know I can't pronounce his name, but Joe Biden, as I call him.
Mm-hmm, Joe Biden.
Even a lefty like you have to admit, his those public sniffing activities, the way he behaved around children, allegedly around the woman, the fact that he's not mentally all there. It was terrible that he was put up against Trump to begin with. Do you at least concede that from the prosecution?
Can I answer that in song?
Yeah, you could do, but no, my point is that Joe Biden he was a liability because all of these tech pros, like the Joe Rogan, when I was having a curry this night, which I made at home because my local place has got a 3-star review and someone said they found a fly in it, the curry.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I didn't take it from there. But Elon Musk, who is desperately, even though he's the richest man in the world, $260 billion, he's desperately like the uncool kid trying to be cool.
Yeah. Right.
And they completely decimated Kamala's campaign. It's the concerted, Patrick Best-David.
Oh?
He is the Iranian billionaire that one of your shouty, angry callers was talking to you about a few weeks ago, He was, one of your callers was saying an Iranian billionaire is supporting Trump. Do you remember?
Well, shouty, angry. Can you narrow it down for me?
No, one of your callers who are they're usually from the Northeast, not to be offensive, furious about I don't know what. But they were telling you there's an Iranian billionaire online who's supporting Trump.
Yeah.
That's Patrick Best-David.
Right, I've got no idea.
No, but I'm saying he's a big online influence.
Right.
So him, Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, do you not think that Joe Biden, as I call him, he was a liability from the start?
Oh, God, I don't know. I can't have this conversation with you.
No, but I'm saying because someone like Bill Clinton, even though I wouldn't leave my sister in the room with him, he had charisma.
Yes, that's right. He's got charisma. Yeah, that's right.
And
but
now
wouldn't it be nice to just have a while with a politician who doesn't have charisma?
But Trump is just, I can't see anything appealing about him. Like, genuinely, even with Saddam Hussein, he looked like he smelled quite nice and he wore a lovely suit. You know?
Even Saddam Hussein looked like he smelled quite nice. I'm not sure that's true. I mean, after he was dragged out of that drain, I don't think so.
No, but I mean, every person has some positives. Like, he was very brave when he was being sentenced to death.
Right.
Keir Starmer, very dull but gets the job done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the communist wizard from Islington, he was slandered by all the press as being anti-Semitic, but he's got principles. Everyone's got one positive. But this Trump, I genuinely can't see all of these fat Americans, amongst many of whom I was in the Philadelphia, who sort of all smell of individualism, oil, urine and fast food. Is there one positive of Trump or not? I can't.
Yeah, I've got no idea, other than he gets it in the right order.
And it was 30 or 35 questions.
Thanks,
the first
Jonathan.
questions are very easy. The last questions are much more difficult. Like a memory question, it's like you'll go person, woman, man, camera, TV. So they say, could you repeat that? So I said, yeah. So it's woman, camera, TV. Okay, that's very good. If you get it in order, you get extra points. Okay, now he's asking you other questions. And then 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes later, they say, remember the first question? Not the first, but the 10th question? Give us that again. Can you do that again? And you go, woman, man, person, man, camera, TV. If you get it in order, you get extra points. They said nobody gets it in order. It's actually not that easy, but for me it was easy. And that's not an easy question. In other words, they ask it to you, they give you 5 names and you have to repeat them, and that's okay. If you repeat them out of order, it's okay, but you know, it's not as good. But then when you go back about 20, 25 minutes later and they say, go back to that question, they don't tell you this, go back to that question and repeat them. Can you do it? And you go, camera, man, person, woman, TV. They say, that's amazing. How did you do that? I do it because I have like a good memory, because I'm cognitively there.
So that's a good mark in his column. He is cognitively there and he can get it in the right order.
If you get it in order, you get extra points.
Extra points for getting it in order.
If you get it in order, you get extra points.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Shut up.
0345 6060 973. Di texts, there's just 3 from last night, then I can get on to tonight's business. Di says, if you Google who owns the land in England from an article in The Guardian in 2019, you'll see that we serfs fight to own and rent only 5% of the land here, on land that prior to 1066 belonged to 8,000 Anglo-Saxon warrior farmers. Nearly half was taken and given to robber barons by William the Conqueror, and he had over half. Now it's owned by Dyson and Branson and corporations and the Royals. You believe that? And P says, I'm surprised that no one has raised the topic of the reported HS2 £100 million bat shed.
What?
Yeah, the bat shed. Back to the bat shed, Robin. Cost of a bat shed to protect a colony near the HS2 line has topped £100 million. What? The cost of this bat shed to protect a species in the woodland along the new HS2 high-speed line has risen to more than £100 million, the chair of HS2 has revealed. John Thompson. That's who he is. The 1 kilometre-long mesh structure is going to be built where the London to Birmingham high-speed line emerges from a tunnel in Buckinghamshire to protect a colony of Bechstein bats. Describing it as a blot on the landscape built with no evidence that bats were at risk from the trains, John Thompson said, this shed, you're not going to believe it cost more than £100 million. But to be fair, it does look fantastic. Now, I don't know whether that's an artist's rendering, but blimey, what a shed. I mean, it's not like any other shed that you've ever seen. Don't show it to David Cameron, he'll get shed envy.
I think this is nonsense.
And Lindsay says, Trump paraphrases Hitler rather than quoting him. Oh, well, that makes it okay then. You mean he's translated it from the German? 0345 6060 973. Chelmsford. Hello, Adrian.
Oh, hi.
Adrian.
Hello there.
Yes, hello there.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Jolly good. I don't want to burst your bubble, but it was Howard Jones that sang "Wouldn't It Be Nice."
No, it wasn't. Wouldn't it be good to be in
it was.
your
Look it up.
shoes?
Look it up.
I have looked it up.
I've
looked it up already. Wouldn't It Be Good is by Nick Kershaw.
No, Howard Jones.
No, it's not Kershaw. Nick Hayward. Nick Hayward sang "Wouldn't It Be Good."
No, it was Howard Jones.
No, there's absolutely no point in having this discussion, Adrian. I'm looking at it with my own eyeballs right now. There it is on my phone.
I've got it on my phone.
Well,
as well.
your phone is fake news. Nick Hayward, Wouldn't It Be Good?
Oh, you're so funny.
It's
You're
actually
so funny.
Nick. It's not Nick Hayward. It's Nick Kershaw. Why do I keep saying that? Nick Kershaw, Wouldn't It Be Good?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be?
It's Howard Jones.
Yeah, but it's Nick Kershaw, though. Unless Howard Jones is Nick Kershaw, then you are completely incorrect in every respect. What are you talking about?
Oh, well, I've got it on Google.
Well, I don't care about it. What does Google know? Google doesn't know anything. Google is an idiot. That is just a fact. Nick Kershaw sang "Wouldn't It Be Good." Wouldn't it be good to be in your shoe? You have to start a little bit. Have to start a little bit higher, otherwise you can't go down as low as it goes.
Well, on Google it's Howard Jones.
Yeah, but it's Nick Kershaw.
All right. Okay.
I hope. Yeah, okay. I hope you've written that down in case you make that mistake again in future. Yeah.
Yeah. You are so funny.
No, I'm not. You are. All right, good work. Thanks a lot, Adrian.
Right,
okay, ta-da. 0345 6060 973. What does it mean, funny? I make you laugh. I amuse you. I'm here to amuse you. Mark and Carrie texts, can't wait for the orange Mimi to meet Jedi Bad Ewok. Jedi Bad Ewok. Oh, that is really shoehorning it in. And that doesn't really work for me. That is, in case you were wondering, the latest Tory leader. Be some material for you there, mate, says Mark and Carrie. It took both of them to text that. Can you believe it? Internet of Games texts. You know Labour are doing it right when Wetherspoons and Burger King and not the Old Klopp and Millie's Cafe are writing the open letters to your Chancellor. Yeah, I'm resisting all of that. All of that. Oh, the budget, and they're going to have to pay people an amount of money they can survive on. Oh, woe is us. I'd have to say, again, if your business relies on paying your staff an amount of money they cannot live on, then maybe your business isn't worth saving. Michael texts, who cares about the bloomin' Royals? They should just... I'm not sure I can read any of that. Can I? My glamorous assistant keeps putting stuff up in front of my face that is unreadable on the air.
Disgusting.
Can you believe that? But I do want to talk about Meghan Markle. You know Meghan Markle? No! Yeah, that's her, yeah. For no apparent reason that I can imagine, she is getting it in the neck on a daily basis from the Mail. I don't know whether... I think the other papers are doing it as well, like the Express probably is and the Sun may be. But it's way beyond stalking behaviour. I mean, really, it's just ridiculous now. And today's episode was, does Meghan Markle have the worst judgment of anyone in the entire world? Okay, two things. First, no, of course she doesn't. And second, Will newspapers please stop writing headlines that are questions? Why are you asking us? You're the blooming journalist. You tell us. Don't ask us. Marcin, maybe it's a typo, don't know. Marcin texts, Chinese will pay tariffs, Mexican will pay for the wall because nobody is more presidential than Mr. Orangina. Mr. Orangina. Yeah, the Mexicans are going to pay for a wall.
I'm building a wall, okay? I'm building a wall. I'm building a wall, okay? I'm building a wall.
And the thing with the wall is you just cannot get through it.
If there's a concrete wall in front of you, go through it, go over it, go around it, but get to the other side of that wall.
What do you think, Kanye?
Whoop-dee-dee scoop poop.
I couldn't agree more. Vince says, while I was having a pint this afternoon, it occurred to me that the situation in America is like a scenario from a sci-fi comic. The world's craziest man has teamed up with the world's richest man to run a country. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah, and people are saying, oh, you know, it's okay. Just wait for another 4 years and there'll be another election cycle and we'll be able to get rid of them. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I really don't think so. I don't think they're going anywhere. It may be a part of the Constitution that you can't run twice, but when has the law ever affected the actions of the screaming Mimi? And he's laying down the template for those to follow him. And we're going to be subject to Trumpism for probably the rest of our lives. Because he's packing all of the courts and from the very top down to the very bottom, which was their project all along. I've mentioned this. Mitch McConnell, that guy who looks like a turtle just emerging from his shell. His job, as he has seen it over the past, for as long as I can remember, maybe 20 years, has been to pack all of the institutions of America with yes people. And the Democrats, of course, are either too nice or too trusting to even contemplate doing such a thing. Partly because all of those low-rent jobs, nobody really cared about them because, you know, what are you going to do? Where's the political capital to having some judge in Oshkosh, Bagosh, Arkansas, someplace like that? Who cares? But the thing is, they make decisions about things that if you get enough of those judges in little podunk towns in the middle of nowhere, if you add them all together, then suddenly you've got a country. And that's what they've been doing. Countrypreneurship. And once you've got hold of the little people, not leprechauns.
The little people.
Those people. Then you get the middling ones and then the upper ones, and then and once you've got the Supreme Court, then you've tied a bow on the entire country, and they run the whole lot. And they were going to be doing it forever now. Because there's two justices in the Supreme Court that are virtually expiring because they are approaching the end of life's conveyor belt. And so Trump will get to appoint another two right-wing dinglings. And they have the job for life, which means that America, well, you might as well be living under the Taliban. All of those people that have voted for Donald Trump have got absolutely no idea what they voted for. Not a clue. They voted for a guy who said, I'm going to make everything better. I hate all the people that you hate, he said. Leave it with me. I'm going to kick them out. We're going to have one really violent day, and I'm going to sort them all out for you, and then your life will be better. And people thought, oh, yeah, God, that sounds great. Yeah, I hate all those people. Can you get them out? But there's a lot that's coming along with that. And the consequences of, just that part are, unimaginable. Who's going to pick your fruit, for instance? Who's going to clean your car? And who's going to mow your lawn? And, what's the point? They voted for it, and they're going to get it in large amounts. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on WhatsApp, it's the same number as the phone, 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10, Nick Abbot, LBC.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Yeah! Dude!
There's a radical left, Marxist, communist, fascist.
That's quite a list there, Don. Are you sure about that? Alex texts, democracy has spoken. Get over it. Now, Alex is one of those people who has, for the past 5 years, been saying that the last election was stolen from Donald Trump, based on absolutely no information of any kind whatsoever. Over and over and over again. It was fixed. It was rigged. And now they've won, of course. It's a done deal, and nothing bad must be said about it. Right. Chris says the Republican dinglings voted for Trump, but their grandpas were totally against the Ruskies. Do you want to tell them, or shall I? One Alanis Morissette. What does that mean? One Alanis Morissette. I don't know what that means. I mean, presumably you're still talking about irony. Is that strike one for Alanis Morissette? I've got no idea. But at least I've spent a long time talking about it. Matt says, you mentioned irony during last night's show. Nigel Farage is too afraid to have in-person clinics for the knife-wielding citizens of Clacton, but he's a frequent flyer to Merca, where there are more guns per capita than people. Isn't it ironic? Yeah, it is. It is absolutely ironic. And the man who is all behind allowing everybody to have as many guns as they can, even if they're mentally ill, even if they're criminals, it doesn't matter who they are, as long as they're still alive, they can buy as many guns as they can. That guy, who takes money from the gun lobby, had to deliver his speeches from behind bulletproof glass. That guy. Isn't it ironic? Yeah. 0345 6060 973. Why is Sophie from Wanstead still on the board? I've talked to her already. I'll ask her in person.
Hello?
Sophie, why are you still on the board?
I'm confused.
What does that mean?
I'm so sorry. No, I'm still sorry.
You're still sorry? You're sorry from before, and you're still sorry?
When I listen on the iPlayer and I'm ringing you,
right,
it goes straight to the phone call.
Oh,
when I
right.
ring off,
your magic
it's
speaker.
Meant to go back,
Got it. Right.
It's meant to go back to the iPlayer.
But it didn't, so you're still listening to me on the phone.
It didn't, but as I'm still on, I'm going to concede, Nick. Okay. I'm going to concede.
Very, very apologetic.
It was Nick Kershaw, you're correct.
Thank you. Finally, we got there.
I
All right.
apologise.
Thanks a lot, Sophie. Cheers, my dear. Thank you again. You have delighted us a sufficient amount. Norbury. Hello, Tony.
Hello.
Tony.
How are we doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, I loved your reference, Goodfellas, Joe Pesci.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm here to amuse you. You find me funny?
What a film.
The rest. Yeah, great film. I love all them films. Nick, I get all my... I'm a Guardian reader. I read the Guardian. Okay, I get all my... Don't listen to, like, social media and all that.
Right. You're a woke lefty, yes.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm a woke lefty, but I was reading the Guardian this week, and going back to the elections in America, going on people that voted for Trump. Now, he's normally called a racist and misogynist, but with the woman vote, it was up. The black man vote, I'm a black man, the vote was up on black men. The vote on young people was up. Now, I know you always say, like, you play that thing that I love, the poorly educated. Would you say all them people are uneducated?
I don't know about all of them, but the majority, certainly. He did very, very well in states. If you're asking the question, then do you want the answer, or you just? No,
I'm asking you.
Right. Well, I started answering, and then you started talking over me.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Well, what's the question again? Do I think they're poorly educated? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, do you think these black people and women that have voted for him, these young people that have voted for him,
right.
Do you think they're poorly educated?
I think by and large, yes. On average, yes, they were more poorly educated than the people who voted for Kamala Harris. That's just a recognisable fact.
You know what done for Kamala Harris? She brought all these millionaires on stage, the Beyoncés, all these multi-billionaires. Right. They're not in touch with, like...
As opposed to the world's richest man, Elon Musk, who is worth about £250 billion, and he's more in touch? Are you kidding?
Nick, you can't say... You're saying that these black people are thick, these young people are thick.
No, you're saying that.
University.
No, you're saying that. I am saying that.
Put that in the past.
No, I am saying...
in the past.
I am saying that it is indisputable that people with a college education are more likely, by a large degree, to have voted for Kamala Harris. Those without any qualifications are more likely, to a large extent, to have voted for Donald Trump.
I've read the Guardian this week, gone into the articles.
Yeah, you keep telling me that you read the Guardian a lot, which, and the more you say the more unlikely it sounds.
I'm talking about the people that write the columns, okay?
Like who?
And they've, like, come out with, like, facts.
Like who?
That,
like who?
Like basically, like Mr. Young himself, he's a black man myself. He's come out with all these polls that have, like, said that, more people from these groups have gone for Donald Trump, because at the end of the day, it's not so much that they care about the person that they're voting for, it's about their pockets, it's about the economy, and that is what the Democrats missed out on. They missed out on they missed out on talking about the economy. Like Bill Clinton said, economy stupid.
Yeah, well, I don't think it was Bill Clinton who said that, but never mind.
No, it was Bill Clinton that said that.
Yeah.
It said economy stupid.
Well, he didn't. But never mind, doesn't matter. I think they did talk about the economy, and if you look at the economy under the Republicans versus the economy under the...
Listen, they got their strategy wrong. They should have brought the Democrats... They should have brought Camilla in from Time instead of, like...
Camilla?
The guy that's
Kamala.
Yeah, they should have brought her in from Time instead of, like, Joe hanging on. They got their strategy wrong.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, I'll note that down, Tony. Seriously, I've got absolutely... The more you talk, the less I believe anything that you're saying, including your belief in what you're saying. A Guardian reader, you say? Okay. Philip texts, after both Hillary and Kamala, any truth in the rumour that an arrest is on the cards for Trump beating two women? Ash texts, I am genuinely disturbed by Trump. I don't feel I need to go into the many, many reasons why. But why? Why did America shoot itself? These people have a phobia of woke, which they have been trained into hating. Isn't there a tiny chance he might be kept out? Yeah, I don't think so. Even if he had cheated his face off, even if at this point they uncovered vast malfeasance in the electoral process, the Democrats are still too nice to say, well, hang on a minute. We're going to have a recount. We're not sure about this. We're going to take this to court. But the Republicans, well, they've been doing it constantly ever since the screaming Mimi lost to Joe Biden the first time. Ever since, every day. To the point that more than, I can't remember the exact percentage, so I'll make it up, something of the order of 75% of Republican voters still believe that the election was stolen from Donald Trump when Joe Biden won. Still believe it. After court case, after court case, after court case, after court case. After the Dominion voting machines sued Fox News for something of the order of $1 billion because of their insistence that, those voting machines were rigged and they flipped votes from Donald Trump to Joe Biden and all of that stuff. It's all been proven completely false. And it's been tested to destruction in courts run by Republicans, and they still believe that the election was stolen. But they can't contemplate even the slightest suggestion that there was some sort of cheating involved in the one that's just happened. Okay, got it, right. And even if there was no actual crookedness involved. There certainly was crookedness involved in the run-up to it. I mean, these micro-targeting of adverts. They targeted adverts about what Kamala Harris believed as far as Israel is concerned and changed it completely if they were targeting a Jewish neighborhood to a Muslim neighborhood. If it was a Jewish neighborhood, they would say that, Kamala Harris is a supporter of Hamas. Look, here she is. Here's a mock-up of her in a Palestinian flag. And they would send that to all of the people in the Jewish neighborhood. If it was a Muslim neighborhood, they would say, look, Kamala Harris is deliberately sending the bullets that are killing your children. And they micro-targeted, just as they did with Brexit. I mean, they've got it down perfect. They could take over any country they want at this point, because people don't get their information from news anymore. They don't get their information from newspapers necessarily. They certainly don't get their information from TV news, because that's all fake news. I mean, that's the first thing that a dictator would do, stamp on the news. The second thing is stamp on the universities, and that is second on their list. I mean, J.D. Vance said out loud, professors are the enemy. The enemy! So intelligence, learning, information is the enemy. Propaganda is what we're getting now. And that's why that moon-faced creep who runs Twitter, that's why he bought Twitter at a way over its value. And then he ran it into the ground because he doesn't really care about money. He told the advertisers that pulled their adverts, bleep you, he said. And then he repeated himself louder and said, is that clear enough for you? He doesn't care about the money. He bought a megaphone. And that's what you use to take over the world. You just keep telling people the same thing. The reason that you're not getting anywhere is because of those people over there. And it works for every dictator that has ever tried it. Name one that's tried that and it's failed. There aren't any. You just need to be shameless enough to do it. That's all. And you need to have somebody with a bit of charisma to do it. And they found both of those people in the same individual, and it's Donald Trump. And here we are. It will affect us, of course, because if he does this stupid tariff war thing, then we will all be paying more for everything, probably forever. And no doubt the war in Europe and the war in the Middle East won't get any better. Or it will be solved with just unimaginable consequences. But at least there's 3,000 miles between us and them. As long as certain individuals don't follow the lead, which of course they are already, with limited success so far, but, don't count them out unless a Britain Trump comes in over here.
I'm a nutcase.
And I wouldn't discount that at all. Be alert. Your country needs alerts.
This is LBC. Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Right, so what are we doing?
Given we're doing a radio show, it does remind me that I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Yeah.
Now, it is a hoot and a half. And we're coming up to our 300th episode. I can't believe it. I mean, I actually cannot believe that we've done that many. And it is a laugh riot. We do set each other off. And I think you'll love it. It's a problem-solving podcast. If you've got a dilemma or an issue or a problem, or it might be like a family thing or an emotional problem, or, something that you want us to bend our brain at, something that you've always thought, gosh, I wonder why that is, then send it to this address, nickandcarol@global.com, NICKANDCAROL @global.com, and prepare to be totally satisfied.
Oh, right, yeah.
Ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol? You'll love it. 0345 6060 973. Now, let's see. Who's been waiting the longest? Be totally fair about this. Ip, dip, sky blue. Glasgow. Carolyn.
Hi, Nick.
Carolyn.
I was listening to you tonight and about Trump. I'm completely depressed, but that's another story.
Mm-hmm.
But what I wanted to say was the elephant in the room is why has he gone from a pale face to a kind of orange face to mahogany? He's a dark mahogany. But nobody's mentioning this.
It's really weird. I mean, I don't know what is going on with his makeup, because that's what it is. I mean, what's really strange about this is he's trying to appeal. Well, he is successfully appealing to a lot of masculine yee-haw types wearing more makeup and hairspray than Dolly Parton, dancing to the gay classic YMCA. What is going on there?
Do you know what's really sad? He's got a very pale complexion, and I'm very pale. As I say, I've got a very Celtic Scottish complexion.
Well, you're in Glasgow. You've never seen the sun.
Peely Wally? No, we don't. I'm so Peely Wally. I'm actually pale blue.
Peely Wally. I haven't had that in a while. Peely Wally.
Peely Wally. But see, if I go and get a spray tan to make me look a little bit tan. There's special tans that just make you for fair skin, that don't make you look ridiculous.
Yeah, like an Oompa Loompa.
So I don't understand why his daughters or his family
or someone,
somebody said you look absolutely ridiculous, because he does.
I have a theory about this. If you look at the great dictators of recent history, they all look a bit weird. They all look a bit strange. They've all got weird hair, or they have weird mannerisms, or they've got weird facial hair, or something that just looks odd about them. And I think they make it a thing.
It is just, I mean, nobody, I keep listening for news readers or somebody to say, what has he done with his face, or somebody to just say this has gone overboard now.
Yeah, it is.
And nobody, absolutely nobody is mentioning it, and it's just like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, you think that there's something wrong with your TV. You're trying to change the colour and the contrast. There's something dreadfully wrong here. That bloke looks like a tangerine.
Yeah, they must be all laughing behind his back, saying, look, what, it's not just even pale now. I went and watched his movie, The Apprentice, which was very good, actually.
Was it?
It was very good. The guy who plays him's great, but he's very pale in that, and he doesn't go down the line. He starts going down the line of getting makeup and stuff when you see it. It's very good. But I have to say, it starts to get, now he's gone from pale to kind of pale orange to absolutely mahogany.
It's just,
and I just think
you
wouldn't let your father.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't
let
let anybody that you love go out looking like that. No.
No.
Yeah,
I'm so depressed.
That picture of him in that orange vest that he wore when he did that garbage truck stunt, and he's looking to camera, and he's got that that sort of pursed lip thing that he does, that sort of cat's bottom thing that he does with his mouth, and his mouth is almost completely white, and his eyes are white, and the rest of him is, well, it's beyond orange now. It's almost like a sort of it's almost like he's doing blackface.
It's awful. My friends would take me aside and say, listen, you've made a big error here.
Go wash your face and try again, Carolyn.
Absolutely, absolutely. But listen, loving the show.
All right, thanks a lot. Cheers, my dear. You know when you're going to see Sun next? Do you want me to check on that?
No, I've not seen it for a long time.
Well, neither have I, actually. I mean, it's been a white out for as long as I can remember. I mean, it's just been all... Oh, look, you're going to see the Sun on Monday.
I don't know what the sun is, actually.
Yeah, it's the big... It'll be the big thing. Don't look directly at it, though, Carolyn.
So I'll get my sunglasses ready.
Yeah, there you go. Monday. Mark it down in your diary. All right, thanks a lot. Cheers, my dear. Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. Ahmed emails, I didn't do too well whilst in school and my grades were terrible. The only positive I can take from this is that at least Donald Trump loves me. Yeah, that's right.
I love the poorly educated.
He loves you, Ahmed. Although, I don't know, Ahmed, there may be a bus waiting for you down the end of your street. Depends where you're living. Joe emails, the last time I listened to your excellent show, you coughed so much that Clive Bull had to come in early to save us from your spluttering. Yeah. I was so worried about you that I changed stations. Are you okay? What was it? And is Clive still on standby? Says Joe. You know, yesterday and today I've been thinking, hey, my voice sounds almost like it used to. I caught this thing about 3 months ago, something like that. And it took me off the air. And I do not go off air for any other reason than I can't actually physically continue. And, ever since then, it's been sort of a crackle in the voice. And yesterday it occurred to me, oh, it's not there anymore. I'm sort of projecting a bit more, yelling a bit more, just like I used to. And I thought, maybe it's gone. Finally, it's gone. It took 3 months. Blimey, I've got no idea what that was. Maybe it was the thing. Maybe it was, the virus.
This, whatever they want to call it, you can call it a germ, you can call it a flu, you can call it a virus. You know, you can call it many different names. I'm not sure anybody even knows what it is.
No, nobody even knows what it is. If you don't know what it is, Donald, nobody knows what it is. I know more about everything than anybody. He's the leader of the free world. What could possibly go wrong? James says, why does the Daily Mail hate Meghan Markle so much? It completely baffles me. I'd be interested to hear why they do it and if they will ever stop. I think they do it for money because people keep reading those stories. And if you read it online, they can tell that you've read it, which is why they keep endless stories about David Beckham's kids. Over and over. And here comes another one. It's like they've got a conveyor belt of kids coming out, and each one seems as talented as the last. At least at their ability to garner tattoos. And you think, why am I reading this? Moreover, they keep writing stories about these people? That's because people keep reading them. They can see what you're reading when you're doing it online. And I would imagine that that's why they keep writing stories about Meghan Markle, is because people keep reading them. Stop reading them, they'll stop writing them. Promise that's true. And James says the town of Lewes is pronounced Lewis, not lose. Yeah, no, I was talking about that because they have a bonfire night special in Lewis, and each year they create a special guy. And this year's was absolutely spectacular. I mean, it was so great. It just seems such a shame to burn it. I didn't see it go up in flames, but I did see it being paraded through the streets, and it was just epic. I stand with the people of Lewis. If you haven't seen it yet, then treat yourself. 0345 6060 973. Cambridge, Hassan.
Hello.
Yes,
Nick.
Sir.
Nick, new item caught my eyes because before I moved to London, I spent 4 years living in Amsterdam, which is a wonderful city.
Amsterdam.
Want to score some pot?
Yes.
And it's a peaceful city with friendly people.
Yeah.
The only problem is with tourists who come in and get drunk and smoke pot.
Reel around the place and vomit and pee on a lamppost.
Disgusting.
Exactly. Yeah. And the worst sort of tourists are football hooligans because they are even less behaved and they come in groups. And you know what's worse than a football hooligan? It's a football hooligan whose team lost 5-0 in the match.
Always an upsetting result, yes.
Always an upsetting result. And then there's been this entire crisis on actually what happened, because at one stage, BBC, Sky News, and Daily Mail, that great bastion of truth, was
truth and even-handedness,
Yes, that the trouble started when the Israeli club's supporters of the Maccabi club became rowdy and started attacking Palestinian flags and beating up Arab taxi drivers, etc. And then for some reason...
they took a pause and thought, no, hang on a minute, that doesn't fit with all our other coverage.
No, exactly. And then those news items started disappearing from the websites, and then started reappearing with a slightly different message. This was a anti-Semitic program on the likes of Kristallnacht,
right?
Like in 1938,
which is really. I mean, even if you believed one reading of it or the other, Kristallnacht, really?
Yeah. Yes, but Simon Sharma, the famous historian, was describing the pro-Palestine protests in London as Kristallnacht. So Kristallnacht seems to be rolled out whenever somebody wants to make a scary point.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know nothing about history, but it seems a bit over it seems over-egging it to me.
Yes. But the best coverage was from a 14-year-old kid.
Yeah, I saw that. Unfortunately, I don't speak Dutch, so I had no idea what he was saying. But he was certainly very brave, and he appeared to be the only journalist on the scene.
Yes, exactly. And he was fearless, and he provided a running commentary.
Yeah.
I mean, it's now available with English subtitles, which is very helpful.
Good.
And so that he's much more reliable source of news than BBC and Daily Mail and all these other things.
If you're in want of information, ask a 14-year-old. We've learned. Yeah. Hassan, I'm up against the news, but thanks for that.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Have an outside line, please.
0345 6060 973. James says, did you listen to James O'Brien's show on Wednesday? He did his longest introduction ever, lasting 26 minutes without taking a break or a breath. I bet he took a breath. A couple of breaths, probably. No, I missed it. I think I was in a funk. Aldo texts, water is for toilets. Braundo has electrolytes. That's a reference to the film Idiocracy, which should be at the top of your to-watch list, because we are living it at this minute. It's actually frightening how accurate it is. Nick says, why do you hate Man Baby so much? He's going to make America great again after Biden trouser suit Harris screwed it up the last 4 years. Well, the answer's in the first sentence. Why do I hate Man Baby so much? There you are. Your question is answering itself. 0345 6060 973. Rochdale. Hello, Ian.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Just a quick thought that that shed for the bats.
Yes.
It should be the daft bat shed.
The death bat shed.
Daft bat.
Oh, daft bat shed. Yes. Yep. It's an excellent looking facility, though. Have you seen it?
No, sorry.
Well, you don't have to apologise.
All right. Well, I was watching. If it's all right to just nip on something else.
Yes.
I was watching one of the nature programmes where there's the eagles and the mountain goats fighting each other so you can survive.
Oh, yeah.
And the eagles have the exact colouring of Trump.
Really? Orange?
Yeah.
Orange eagles?
That's what it looked like, yeah.
Is there something wrong with your television?
Possibly, but, I mean, get one of your other listeners to have a check.
Right, I most certainly will do nothing of the sort, but thanks for asking.
Right.
All right, cheers. Thanks, Ian. Another satisfied customer. Lucy says, as an English woman living in America, I have nothing more to say other than this caption, that I am living in crazy land and the trucks with the flags are back in force. Oh, God. You're in the wrong state, Lucy. Move to the coasts right now.
Warning, warning.
And the caption is as follows. When all the so-called Christians eventually meet God and he asks, why did you choose hate over love? Make sure to tell him you saved 10 cents on eggs. Bingo. There it is, in a nutshell. Yeah. Plus, they won't save 10 cents on eggs, because if this huge and tremendous trade war starts that Donald Trump has promised, then everything is going to cost more. Everything. because everything goes through China, apart from anything else. And America, even as big as it is, it can't self-sustain within its own borders. And on top of that, it promised on day one, he's going to forcefully repatriate or bus out of the country millions of undocumented workers. And so everything is going to cost more, absolutely everything. He's going to give you the opposite of what he's promised. But, we should be used to that in this country.
We should have a second referendum.
Anybody who says we should have a second referendum of the Brexit question is out of their mind.
We should have a second referendum.
Nobody should listen to anybody who says that we should have a second Brexit referendum.
We should have a second referendum.
I mean, what kind of a party would have that person as their head?
We've got a few idiots in our party.
I mean, I could go on, but why bother? 0345 6060 973. Let's see now. Some of these people have been waiting a good long while. Sorry about this. I am trying my best. This is my best. Can you believe that? Glasgow. Hello, Alex.
Hi, Nick.
Alex.
Hello?
Yes, Alex.
Hi, Nick. Did you see Donald Trump talking about the weave on Joe Rogan's podcast?
I did not see Joe Rogan's podcast, but I have heard him talk about the weave before, yes.
So I'm going to do the weave here and tell you a story about honey, and then I'm going to weave it in, and I'm going to talk about Donald Trump.
Okay, go ahead.
So a couple of months ago, I went to visit London. I think it was the week after the election, and Labour had just won. Just so happened that I was down there and went to go and see the first PMQs with Keir Starmer. And I met a young girl, well, a few people, but one of them was a young girl. We were talking about what we do for work, etc. And this young girl was a civil servant that worked for DEFRA, so the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. And we were all saying that being a civil servant sounds really interesting. And she proceeded to tell us that her job, she had a master's degree in food science or something like that, and her job in the civil service was basically after we left the EU, their team they spent like a year or something like that, and they basically had to decide how the UK would label honey going forward, because previously the labels had said something like blend of honeys from across the EU, and then obviously once we left, that was no longer accurate.
Right.
So her job for a year solid, it might have even been 2 years, I can't remember, was her and a team of people had to sit down with these lawyers and all these specialist people to wade knee deep through the law and figure out what they were going to say on the label for honey.
Yes, this must be
legally accurate.
Yeah, this bonfire of red tape we were promised. Yeah.
Correct. And what that made me think of at the time was, I don't understand why everyone loves the kind of populist politicians like Donald Trump, etc., who are...
I do.
Just kind of stage show and drama, because...
I know.
Oh, yeah, because they think that real life is a TV show and everything has to be dramatic and names and lights and things like that.
Yeah, well, there is that. I mean, that is the sort of bedazzlement. But there is a very good reason why people are drawn to people like Donald Trump and Nigel Farage and people like that. And that's because they don't really understand the complicated questions that they need answers to. They don't understand the question, and they certainly wouldn't understand the answer if it was explained to them. And so what they want is somebody who speaks like they think. So they just want someone to say, don't worry, I'm going to make everything great again. And they think, oh, yeah, that'd be good. Great again. There was some point in my life where, I was enjoying myself. Let's go back to that point, whenever that was. And that's why they are attractive, because they don't tell you how they're going to do it. They don't really tell you what they're going to do. They just give you a nice, warm, fuzzy feeling, like they're stroking a dog.
So what's the way, how do we win people? Because, like I said, that goes to show just how monotonous and boring and mundane so much of the work that the government does. I mean, honestly, no one would ever think that the civil service employs a team of people whose sole job it is to spend a year figuring out how we can label honey legally. Right. And that's the boring stuff that the government is actually responsible for.
Well, I'm sure it's much more complicated than you've described, and because the thing with honey is if it comes from one particular place, then it would cost more, and it would have a certain taste, and they have, their own regulations in that country. But if it is a blend of all sorts of different countries, then there could be anything in it. I mean, there was some study about honey done recently, and it came back as most of the honey that's sold as honey actually isn't. It's, sugar syrup.
Yeah, no, she definitely. I'm not suggesting it's unnecessary to have these teams, but that's the reality of. You need someone who's a subject matter expert in these things, and so someone like Donald Trump really going to lead an intelligent government that are going to make boring decisions like that. I mean, Keir Starmer, everyone complains about him being just a boring guy in a suit, but it's like, well, that's
exactly what we need. Yes, that's exactly what we need. We need boring people in suits doing boring things that we all rely on being right. I mean, take something like a coffee cup. You go to a coffee store and you get a coffee and it comes in a cup with a plastic lid. Mm-hmm. How many times have you ever thought about the engineering miracle that is the plastic lid that you, without thinking, put on a cup, or have somebody that you don't know put it on a cup, and then you take the coffee cup and you tilt it towards you, completely trusting that lid will keep everything, all the boiling contents inside without spilling on you. How many times have you ever thought of that? I bet zero. No. And yet you rely on it completely. Because imagine if it regularly just fell off. It's just a piece of plastic that is so cheap that you throw it away after one use. That is how cheap it is. And yet we rely on its engineering to be so perfect that we rely on it with our health. I mean, can you imagine how much red tape you would have to go through to actually get something as boring and mundane as that produced? And then you've got absolutely everything else that we rely on without thinking about, like whether your can of cola is going to explode in your hand or in your fridge if you take it below or above a certain temperature, or you shake it up. Or no, none of that happens, and yet it's as easy to open as it would be for a child could open it. And so it would be probably better for us all if one body could do it for, let's say, 28 different countries, because then you wouldn't have to repeat the same boring things 28 different times. And we used to have that, and we decided not to have that anymore.
Yeah, well, that speaks a lot about.
Are you still doing your weave, by the way?
It was just to bring it back to Donald Trump, and like I said, I just don't know how we convince people that we don't need the theatrics, because the bulk of it is, I guess it's just, I mean, you look at, ask anyone that works in the emergency services if it's like these shows that you see on the TV, like the police shows and the ambulance show, that's curated stuff. 99% of the job is just the same things over and over. Yeah.
Filling out forms.
And then 1% of things that are interesting or entertaining. But I want someone who's good at the 99%,
right,
and the 1%, not excellent at the 1%, but doesn't care about the 99%.
Correct, yeah. Spot blooming on. All right, good to talk to you, Alex. Thanks for that. Thanks for weaving it for us. But I don't think that's what Donald Trump means about weaving. He means he means to apply structure where there is none. He just rambles with various thoughts that he's like a jukebox, and people are putting in their 10 pences, and just random thoughts are coming out. And he'll talk about sharks and being electrocuted in a boat, and then he'll talk about the late great Hannibal Lecter, and he just goes on and on about this blithering nonsense, and then tries to kid on that he's actually thought it all out and he's doing the weave. Oh yeah, it's this genius thing that I do. Please. What a way to run a planet, eh?
Dreadful.
Leading Britain's conversation, Nick Abbot. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
You know, some whack job can say this stuff and get away with it?
Northwich, Alice.
Oh, hello, yes, some whack job can get away with it.
Well, only so far. Only so far. Once he gets word of what I'm doing over here, it's going to be curtains. I bet you he'll insist on it for a trade deal. I want that guy gone.
Oh, your voice is good tonight, Nick.
It seems to be back. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's great. Yeah, so earlier today I was listening to Mr. Scaramucci, who was an insider, as you'll know better than me, in the last Trump...
He's the guy that did the Fandango.
Oh, right.
Scaramouche, will you do the Fandango?
Oh, that was... Yeah. Brain's tired. It's late, but yes. Anyway, he was explaining what it's like to try and get some information across to Donald Trump, and it was such a revelation. You know, it all has to be done in pictures. He doesn't like reading, and the more he spoke, and the more he spoke about the way Donald Trump works, or rather doesn't work, and also illustrated it with reading a letter that Trump had sent to Erdogan. It just came across that he's sort of Trump's sort of level of intellect and even emotional development is if you set the sex stuff aside, it's like that of a sort of overindulged 7-year-old child who may very well have dyslexia.
Well, have you ever seen South Park?
No, I'm afraid I haven't.
Well, then you've got a lot of catching up to do, but those who have seen South Park will probably know where I'm going. But what we now have is Cartman as the leader of the free world. That will mean nothing to you, Alice, but look it up later and you'll see what I mean.
Yeah. Well, what it reminded me of is some sort of... because he's going to have the House and the Senate and the Supreme Court, that it's going to run the presidency like sort of a boy, some medieval boy king.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because the Supreme Court
the Red Queen in Alice, the Red Queen in Alice in Wonderland.
Yes, I'm thinking of drinking that potion right now. How about you? I don't care what's in it.
Well, I wish I could take off for somewhere else for the duration.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like any other solar system looks good right now.
Yes, indeed.
Just point us in the direction, light the blue touch paper, and retire. Yeah. Well, I hope he can't change the Constitution. I believe it's quite difficult, but even so, I mean, I wouldn't bet against it. No. He's got to get, is it 2/3 or 3/4 of the states to agree to it. If he doesn't come back for a third time, I'll be amazed. I think he's going to do a Putin. I think he's just going to be there forever now. Well, obviously, I sincerely hope you're wrong, because I hate to think what sort of damage he's going to do in the next 4 years. A lot. Yeah. But at least there's, like I said before, at least we have the thin solace of the 3,000 miles between us and him. Well... Not that that's really going to protect us any, because, now we've left the might of the European Union. We're bobbing about on the drink like a bath-time duck. We're waiting for anybody to take a pot shot at us. We're Johnny No-Mates. We've deliberately done it to ourselves. Well, we are, and Starmer's going to have to decide whether he's going to sort of try and sort of support this so-called special relationship, or whether he's going to sort of go in with the EU. Well, no, quite. There isn't. No. It only exists in our minds, not the Americans. They don't. Well, not in mine. They don't care about us. Yeah, exactly. No, they don't. No. All right, Alice. Fingers crossed, eh? Yeah, all right. Right. Thanks a lot. Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. David says, Nick Hayward performed live at the Tivoli Theatre in Wimborne tonight. Is that a fact? I saw the poster on my way past and I couldn't understand why he looked so different now to his younger self. Are you kidding? How long ago is it? It's, oh, God, once I start doing maths like that, it's just really, really alarming. Because to me, the 80s seems like, a week last Wednesday. But it could quite possibly have been 40 years ago.
What?
40. That is just astonishing, isn't it? The 1970s was 50 years ago. Punk is almost 50 years old. Wow. Brain explodes. Anyway, he says he performed at the Tivoli Theatre, did Nick Hayward. I saw the poster on my way past, says David, and I couldn't understand why he looked so different to his younger self. Now, thanks to listening to your show this evening, I realised I was actually thinking of Nick Kershaw. Oh, right. Right. Yeah, the other Nick. That's right. Nick Kershaw. Wouldn't it be good to... Terrific tune. Terry texts, Gaz is totally right. Well, which one's that? How am I supposed to remember that? He says, I promise you that I have always thought that Farage is the spitting image of Nick Hayward. Oh. I have never seen them together in public, so maybe we could start a conspiracy theory. Nick Hayward does not look like Nigel Farage. That is an offence to Nick Hayward, apart from anything else. 0345 6060 973. Gosh, some of these people have been waiting for ages. Sorry about this. Bodmin, hello, Malcolm.
Good evening, Nick. How are you, sir?
I am great, mate.
Hey, that lovely lady from Glasgow made me smile earlier. Loved her call.
Yeah, she was very good.
Yeah, and she was on about Trump. She was to be careful what she wishes for, because Trump's mother was Scottish, so he's half Scottish.
Yeah, he does keep going on about that, yeah.
No, but if he drops the ombre to there, he will look polly-wally like that Glasgow lady.
Polly-wally, yeah, close. No cigar.
Years ago, he used to make me laugh. Billy Connolly had a gag, and it was about how he used to go swimming as a kid. His parents used to take him to the beach, and he used to have knitted swimsuits.
Oh, yeah.
And when they got wet, he could melt them up. But he used to say, because he was Scottish, he literally used to turn blue in the water. Yeah. God. So anyway, that made me smile. Hey, listen, there's a rumour going around Washington that Trump is going to put a $5 tariff on any country with a citizen who has been rude about him. and apparently
5%. You mean a 5% tariff? You mean?
No, $5. And apparently we're into Trump for $3 trillion because of you.
Oh, shut up!
Yeah, sorry about that, but I just couldn't help myself.
No, I know. No, but, you know about people calling in and slagging him off.
Yeah.
And they better watch themselves because the men in black will be around. I tell you what, mate, if I was you, I'd have a steel door from that studio.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to help me. No, the men in black and the black men.
I'm doing great with black men.
He's doing great with black men, Melania.
Well, I don't care.
She's not that bothered.
Listen, people are saying that Trump is much stronger than he was last time around. I think he's going to be a lot weaker, because if you look at the people he's bringing in, I mean, Elon Musk, right? And there was a piece on the Boxer the other night, and there were some fairly smart people, I thought, anyway, where they were talking about Trump and his people. And the first one who came up was Elon Musk, and they were saying that they can imagine Elon Musk in Trump's presence. It's going to be all me, 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 me.
Yeah.
But the problem for Elon Musk is Trump is all me, 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 me. So they reckon in very short time there's going to be a problem there between Musk and Trump. Now, there was a photo, I don't know whether you saw it, of Musk and Trump's family. And someone brought it up last night, I think, on your show, and they said that Melania wasn't there.
Yeah.
But if you look at the photograph shows all of Trump's family. Almost, you could have drawn a pencil line on the floor. And then if you look at Elon Musk, he's about 6 or 8 feet in front of the line of Trump's family. And there's Musk, his child, and his wife. It's his wife, I assume, or maybe a girlfriend.
Right.
Who knows? But that picture looks really weird because you look at it and the first thing that hits you isn't Trump and the family, it's Musk.
Standing in front of them.
Yeah, look at it. Look at it, really weird.
Right.
But and they're on about Lammy and the things he said about Trump.
Yeah.
And Lammy is in trouble.
Yes, David Lammy, British Foreign Secretary, described as Donald Trump as a deluded, dishonest, xenophobic, narcissistic, neo-Nazi sympathising sociopath. Well, what's wrong with that?
I think, not a lot. But, I think that Trump, he's going to be not in trouble, but he's going to be fighting battles with the American media all over again very soon because
he loves that. He loves the attention. I don't think it really matters to Trump. Trump is not really interested in policy. He doesn't care about. He doesn't care about anything. He's going to be doing his demented safe space rallies because he loves the roar of the crowd. And he's going to be playing golf, and he's going to be selling people Trump merchandise, and that's the end of it. That's all he's going to do, and everything else is going to be those moon-faced creeps behind him, and those are the real problems. Those people, because apparently billionaires aren't sufficiently rewarded enough. They want more, and there's no end to their greed, and they're yearning for power. So we're run by them now. It's not Donald Trump's world anymore. It's Elon Musk's. Thanks, Malcolm.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global. Leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Is he crazy, or is that just the way he acts?
Well, let's get back to it.
Yeah, so that story that you heard just before the news, the British Foreign Secretary David Lammy has described his previous remarks about the US President-elect Donald Trump as deluded, dishonest, xenophobic, narcissistic and a neo-Nazi sympathising sociopath as old news. Old may be, also correct in every respect. Keir Starmer's government is making efforts to smooth over tensions with the incoming president. And you know what? They and we would not have been wetting their pants if it had been Kamala Harris that had won and we'd been rude about her. We wouldn't be herring around battening down the hatches from the incoming storm if it had been a reasonable person that the Americans had elected. But they didn't. And so now we're freaking out because the American people decided that the terrible offspring of Biff Tanner and Cartman out of South Park should be their leader. If it had been anybody else, it would have been fine. But now we're running around because they've elected a hungry baby. Archie says, did you notice it snowed in Saudi Arabia for the first time ever? Nothing to do with climate change, they say. Yeah, right. I did, yes. It got sand dunes covered in snow. Yeah. Welcome to the new world. You're going to need a bigger boat. And Mr. Duss texts, Nigel Farage looks more like Crazy Frog. Well, that's just offensive, but also true. Let's see now. Oldbury. Hello, Ranjit.
You're right.
Yes, Ranjit. Sorry about the long wait. Sorry about the long wait to everybody who's on the board right now. I don't know why it's taken so long.
I'm in stitches here, right? You know, Nigel Farage, if you look at the way his jaw moves, yeah, he looks like, and he talks like Zippy out of Rainbow. Okay, seriously. When he comes on the news, yeah, it reminds me of Rainbow, and you have a look and you'll agree with me,
How can I remember that? I mean, that is just bizarre. How can I remember the theme tune to Rainbow, and I can't remember what I did last weekend?
That's the same. When you get to our age, right, we can't remember what we did yesterday, but we can remember our first day at school. Stuff like
right.
that,
yeah?
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, you know, regarding Melania, yeah, me and my friend one day, about 10 years ago, we come up with a phrase, where there's a will, there's a relative. Yeah.
Where there's a will, there's a relative.
There's a relative. So, last couple of years, you haven't heard of Melania at all. Now that he's become president, he's holding her hand there and everything. She's there back on the scene. Yeah. You know, she ain't a gold, but she's probably a gold digger, but she's got plenty of money. But you understand what I'm trying to say? She hasn't been, you know, even when he lost the election, everybody thought, you know, she would do a runner, but obviously she knows something that we don't.
Well, maybe the prenup precludes doing a runner. Did you see that the Russian TV, as in celebration of Donald Trump's victory, they replayed all of the pictures of her nudie career.
Disgusting.
They just put it on the news.
I don't know.
That's terrible.
You know what? It's been the coverage has been so it's overwhelming now. It's getting too much.
Yeah.
But the other thing that's on a serious note, Donald Trump needs to think he's not bigger than America. Right? And America needs to think that they're not bigger than NATO and the rest of the world, because if you go with that BRICS, you know, Brazil, India, China,
Russia.
and South Africa, Russia, they can wipe the floor with America. If the Americans haven't got the Europeans on their side and England, right, they are quite vulnerable, and he needs to actually understand that. And that leads me to believe that Elon Musk, you know, with the Russians, they're gonna get together in bed. Yeah.
Oh.
You know, not in bed. You know, politically. Yeah.
Yes.
And so things are going to change in the next, I'd say, 18 months. Yeah. And Donald Trump probably needs to find Brutus like Caesar should have back in the day. That's where, you know, somebody last night said he may be the next president to be assassinated.
Wow. I mean, the preponderance of guns in America, it's kind of surprising that they don't get shot all the time. I mean, kids in school get shot all the time. You know, presidents only don't, because they got so much security around them, and they speak to crowds behind bulletproof glass while telling the parents of children that have to do they have to do an active shooter drill in schools. Here's the place where you go and run to hide if someone is picking you off one by one. I mean, in this country, we do fire drills. In America, they do active shooter drills in school. That country's insane.
And that's supposed to be the civilized leader of the world. Well, I'm afraid no, it isn't.
No, it isn't.
And you know this thing about David Lammy, that really absolutely annoys me, right? You know, Kemi Badenoch here, her coming on that, you know, her first, questions, Prime Minister's question, and she couldn't leave it alone, could she? She's like a little child that's been given a toy, yeah. And I thought to myself, I watched it, right, and on live on TV, and I thought, stop it, woman, because, well, I shouldn't say woman, but stop it, person. You are letting yourself down. Because the thing is, right, now, the Labour Party needs to be very careful. If they cave in and take David Lammy and move him to another place, it's going to show their weakness, right? He's got every right to say what he feels, right, when he's in opposition.
Yeah, well, I don't know what Kemi Badenoch was talking about, because Boris Johnson said all of that and more.
Yeah, but you know what people are saying to that? Because I've had discussions about, Boris Johnson ain't even an MP no more.
Yeah, well,
he was an MP at the time.
He was the mayor of London, for crying out loud.
Yeah, right, because he said, because what's his name? I remember this. People got very short memories about this kind of stuff.
They've got no memory at all. Selective.
Yeah, he said Birmingham is like, and recently this is J.D. Vance was, I don't know. He says, well, Britain is an Islamic country, so these people can insult us, right?
But we're not allowed to insult them. Yeah, no, exactly right.
No, we're not insulting them. We're just standing up for ourselves. And if Keir Starmer and his mates are listening, I'm a Labour supporter, right? I'm a Labour supporter, Labour through and through. If you reshuffle the cabinet, unless you make David Lammy the Prime Minister, I will stop being a member of the party. That's how bad it's gone.
If the Labour Party prostrate themselves in front of that screaming Mimi, just in the outside hope that we're going to get a trade deal which could be bettered 1,000 times over by simply rejoining the single market, but he doesn't want to do that because some old people in Clacton would get upset, then I'm kind of at the end of my tether with the Labour Party as well.
I am, seriously, because you know me, like, people say to me, oh, well, Labour's doing this, Labour's doing that. I say, yes, they are, but how else was you going to fund it? I mean, I've got little criticisms of the way where they're getting the funding from. I would have taxed the big companies, oil companies, windfall tax, yeah? But they've got their reasons. I'm not the Chancellor, I'm not the Prime Minister, but I probably could do a reasonable job. But don't cave in. What is this? She's like a little school.
Yeah.
Don't cave in. And she is another, like you were saying last night, it's a gift that keeps on giving.
Well, yeah.
And they're going to go through another election cycle, the Conservatives, yeah. And the good thing for Labour is that Nigel Farage is out there to destroy the Tory party. And he's
if the shadow cabinet that Kemi Badenoch has chosen is any indication, the Conservative Party don't need any help in destroying themselves.
No. Sorry, Nick, one more thing.
Yeah, and finally.
Finally, yeah? You know, Uncle Nigel, yeah? He says to Keir Starmer, listen...
Well, he did this last time. He did this last time.
If you want me to deal with Trump, I can help you.
Yeah, sure.
So he's now, right, tarting himself, right, to join the Labour... Well, not join the Labour Party, but help him out. I'll tell you what, it's so crazy. You know, like, when he says he loves the poorly educated, there's more people who are poorly educated now. And they don't,
yeah, absolutely.
You're going to read between the lines what's going on? Farage is flirting with the Labour Party as well. Yeah, he's flirting everywhere.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be part of the Labour Party. He probably doesn't want to be part of the Conservative Party. He wants to run the country because, that's where the power and that's where the money is. Yeah, they should take his offer and say...
No.
Yeah, no. Not thank you, no. Just no. Got to go, Ranjit, but thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. Adrian says, as I walked in Tesco's early, the very first thing that met my gaze was Bodger's book. Can't they relocate it somewhere more appropriate? Like with the toilet rolls. Really? They're selling it in... Will says, Nigel will end up looking like Gollum if he keeps... I can't say that. I can't say that. I mean, I'd like to, but I can't. Benji says, hopefully we can have a Reform Conservative coalition next election. Hopefully. Abandon all hope, you mean, if we have a Reform Conservative coalition at the next election. I mean, I wouldn't mind as long as Labour completely annihilated them. That would be just fine by me. And David says, this is what drugs, alcohol and fast food does to a country. It's like somebody pulled my country out from under me. Trump will be 79 in June. A number of people don't think he'll make it through his term. Yeah, but then imagine if he doesn't. Then the President of the United States of America and the world's most powerful person will be J.D. Vance. That weirdo. Doesn't bear thinking about, does it?
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
This is absolute tosh.
Zimon texts, OK, can we just circle back to carbon-based life forms and how did you come across them? Back to this again. It's a band that produced really, really chill-out music. I mean, it's so chilled out that, as I was saying last night, once you get to the end of one of their albums, that you really can't think of anywhere to go other than another one of their albums, because everything else would just seem like wake-up time. And how I came across them? I honestly think that I was attracted by one of their covers, because if you're streaming... and you don't read the music press and that, then I do pretty much what I used to do in record stores. In record stores, they used to let you get, when I was still buying, I would go in like every month or so and buy, maybe 10 CDs, listen to them, take 5 of them back that I didn't like, and get another 5. And with streaming, you can pretty much do that. And I used to base my choice on the cover. And there's all sorts of fantastic albums I picked up just because of the cover, like the first 07 album, for instance. I thought, wow, that looks good. I'll buy that. It remains one of my favourite albums. And I like that old... I mean, it's not the only kind of architecture I like, but the sort of brutalist architecture, the old sort of Russian architecture, or the brutalism of the South Bank and things like that, or old power stations, and they had a cover. One of their albums was something like that, and that's what drew me to it. And the inside is not really like what the cover suggested will be at all. And then I thought, wow, this is chill out excellence. And then I've got everything they've ever done. Carbon-based life forms. Groovy. Ask for it by name at a store near you. Let's see now. Sam Batch. Hello, John.
Oh, yeah.
John.
I've heard so many comments that I forget what I want to speak about.
Well, I know you've been waiting a very long time, and I apologise for this. Everybody on the board has been waiting at a dog's age. Sorry about that.
I tell you what, I've enjoyed it all. It's been funny. Meghan Markle.
Yeah.
The reason these papers, the British press are down on her, because she's of mixed race. And when it came in, she was mixed race. She's no good.
Well, that may have been a bit of it, but I think it's just that she and he refused to live their life by the script that had been written for them. I think that's it.
I agree with you on that one. You're spot on with that. They're saying we're not being told how to live by you lot.
Yeah.
We're going to live the way we want to live.
Right. It's only one life. You only get one go around, and you're going to do what? Live in a goldfish bowl, having people take pot shots at you all the time, like, metaphorical pot shots, and the paper's saying, well, she did that wrong, and didn't curtsy low enough, and oh, look, she smiled when she shouldn't have done, and just on and on and on. God, who wants to live like that?
And he didn't, I don't mean invented, but he created the Invictus Games.
Yes.
About the warriors who've been abroad, fought on behalf of this country.
Right. I mean, just think about it.
Injured.
Yeah, just think, which one of any of them would you like to sit down and have a pint with?
Harry.
Bingo.
Bang on. I mean, the bloke would be a laugh. He'd listen to what you were saying.
Yeah.
And he'd be one of you, not one of them.
Right. He would come across like a real person, as opposed to these mannequins, these sort of clothes horses that are just wheeled around with this fixed grin and absolutely nothing going on behind the eyes. And you wouldn't recognise their voice if you heard it on tape. No, I bet there isn't a single person in this audience who would recognise Kate speaking.
No, you wouldn't.
Because you've never heard her say anything.
No, she's having health problems. Best of luck to her.
Well, yeah, but who isn't? I mean, all the best to her and hers, but who isn't having health problems? I mean, a third of the people in this country will get cancer at one point in their lives.
I had a mini stroke about 3 months ago. And that's why I'm ringing you now. But beside the point, Nigel Farage reminds me of Kermit the Frog. and if what's his name? Oh, what's that fellow with the golden hair?
The golden hair? Boris Johnson?
The golden hair and the golden face and orange and everything.
Are you talking about Donald Trump? You forgot Donald Trump's name.
If you had 2 brains, would one be lonely?
Wow, you've just frozen my mind. I'm going to have to think about that for about the next 3 days. If you had 2 brains, would one be lonely? Wow, you've really befuddled me there, John.
But and by the way, don't forget the nerdy bells.
The what?
Nerdy bells.
Nerdy bells.
The Scottish term for Halloween. Not Halloween, New Year.
I've never heard that before in my life. I grew up in Scotland. The nerdy bells?
It could be a Glasgow thing.
Oh, maybe. I grew up in Edinburgh. Well, it's new to me. The stuff you learn on this show. Educational, no?
No.
But me late wife was Scottish, so I knew about the early bells.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, there's something to look forward to, and it's hurtling towards us faster than you know. God, it's practically Jesus' birthday. Can you believe that?
No.
All right, good work. Thanks a lot, John. Cheers, mate. Ta-da. 0345 6060 973. Keith says, Jonathan and yourself should do a podcast. You're talking about Jonathan from Harrow. No, it'd be exhausting. Wipe the floor with Rogan, says Keith. Yeah, I don't really understand the popularity of Joe Rogan. I don't really get it. I mean, that he makes more money than any other podcaster, probably, with the possible exception of Howard Stern, maybe. He makes more money speaking into a microphone than anybody on earth, and I just don't get it. Maybe I'm not his target audience. Christ texts, Nick Hayward was the front man and lead singer of Haircut 100, and their best known songs are Favourite Shirts, Boy Meets Girl, Fantastic Day, and Love Plus One. Yes. None of which is better than Wouldn't It Be Good by Nick Kershaw. That's just a fact. But they're good songs. Have I done the break yet? I have. Wow. I am doing very well. Well ahead of schedule. Got no idea where I'm going, but I certainly am on time. Nick emails, Wouldn't It Be Good was a great song by Nick Kershaw, and as a fan of both him and Howard Jones, this I am sure of. Nick Hayward was lead singer of Haircut 100, who did Love Plus One. Yeah, and Fantastic Day and Favourite Shirts. It's another one. Mike says, Howard Jones and Nick Kershaw have performed a live version of Nick's song, Wouldn't It Be Good, together. It's definitely Nick's song, whoever sings it, says Mike. Correct. Rachel says, it's not Nick Hayward. Bruce says, Howard Jones, wrong. Saw him at the Student Union, very good, but not the answer to everything. And Kath texts, are you going to see the films Blitz and Small Things Like These? What's that? Probably not. If it involves going to the cinema, then I'm going to say no. And furthermore...
No.
No. Tooting. Hello, Jan.
Oh, hello, Nick. Hi.
Are you talking to us from the toilet?
No, I've still got my voice, but when you got your voice back, but my voice is, I'm just going to have a sip of this. Yes, I just had a sip of my onion in honey.
Oh.
Medicine.
Oh.
Sliced onion marinating in honey. It's beautiful.
Oh, that sounds...
no, it's helping me get my voice.
Repulsive. Onions marinating in honey.
Yes, it's beautiful. It's lovely. I have heard you say you like, I can't, actually, I've got a bit of brain fog there. I can't remember. But anyway, I'm glad you got your voice. Now, look, it works. It works. What I've taken works.
Give us the recipe.
The nickname for it is called Nero's recipe. But Nero was a terrible... Anyway, he was a terrible... I don't know why they called it that. But anyway, it's just slicing onion...
Yeah.
Putting it in a clean, sterilised jar, maybe the honey is used up in a jar. Put it in that honey jar where there's no honey. Slice up the onion and then steep it in honey overnight, and then take it every 2 hours to sip it, and the honey draws out the onion juice.
Oh, God, that sounds revolting.
Oh, you can add white wine to it. I've got
wine. Oh, well, you should have said.
No, there's a second recipe where if that doesn't appeal to you, you can do the onions with honey and then add white wine to it.
Right, can I just throw the whole thing away and have something else?
Well, you could have chopped up garlic steeped in honey.
That's just worse.
No, that's even...
Whoever heard of such a revolting recipe? That is awful.
No,
raw onion. Are you telling me raw onion?
It's fantastic.
In honey.
That's it. You like caramelised onions. Well,
that's totally different. Nobody eats raw onions.
No, you don't eat the onion. You just have the juice.
Yeah, well...
The honey pulls out the onion juice. that juice in the onions.
Right. And does it make you feel...
You're not really eating the onions.
Right. Does it make you feel...
eating the onions as well.
Does it have any effect other than making everybody walk quickly away from you? Giving you a wide berth.
That's why I'm a bit reclusive for a while.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, yeah. Anyway, I didn't really ring about that, but I had to take a sip of this thing, the onion juice.
Yeah.
It's actually delicious.
Sounds revolting. Delicious.
Anyway, look, very quickly, I was ringing up about a couple of things, probably running out of time. Anyway, I was ringing up about a couple of things. It was although it was very depressing about Trump, what really it was what Kamala Harris said. She was very spirited when she did her congressional speech, wasn't it? I thought it was quite great when she mentioned that thing about it's only when it's dark enough can you see the stars, and how she was saying that you know, the Democrats shouldn't start to despair and stay engaged, and that the stars, let's fill the sky with bright with light, with billion stars, you know, of optimism, faith, truth and service. I thought it was a fantastic speech. I mean, it really lifted me up.
Can you imagine what Trump's speech would have been like had he lost? This witch stole the election. This is totally rigged.
But Nick, but the thing is that, well, even if she had got in, her life is safe. Let's put it that way. She it wouldn't be much of a life for her being in that position, being in a very being around, you know, having to represent America around the world as a woman of colour. She'd probably be. I mean, Barack Obama, you know, they used to. But sometimes they wouldn't even shake his hands when he was attending meetings. But, you know, there's a lot of misunderstanding. Leave that aside.
Who didn't shake his hand?
Oh, when Barack Obama went around, and he was the most heavily guarded American president ever.
Right. Well, that's just matters of degree, though, isn't it? I mean, they do waft around in a car that's about as well protected as a tank.
They call it the Beast.
Yeah. And this time the Beast will be inside.
But the thing is, look, what surprised me today was that apparently the vote was quite equally divided. I mean, apparently the last thing is something like the US remains fairly equally divided,
right,
with 69 million voters supporting Harris and 73 million were supporting Trump.
Right, it's you know, pretty much right down the line. The coasts are where the smart people from the middle ended up, and there's a couple of states in the middle which have big cities where the smart people live, and everywhere else is where the Trump fans live. Those people.
Have I got time to say something else? Because one of the weirdest things that's being said is that it's said to quite a few people have said it, that madman tactics such as what Trump will be using, like brinkmanship.
Yeah.
What is it?
Just being a screaming baby. Yeah, it's not tactics. It's just being a screaming baby.
Well,
yeah.
We'll make the world more stable.
Yeah. No doubt. Yeah, sure. Okay, you believe that if you want to, Jan. I'm deciding not to. I've got to go. Thanks for that.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Are you trying to be funny? Because I'm all out of laughs.
Yes, the much of the world is all out of laughs. Anthony says it was Bill Clinton who said, it's the economy, stupid. No, stupid. It wasn't. Pamela says it was Jim Carville who coined the phrase, it's the economy, stupid, in 1992. He was a strategist for Bill Clinton. Correct, Amundo. That is in relation to a call that I had some while ago. Now then, Truro. Hello, Nick.
Hello.
Nick.
Hi.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Nick. Hello, Nick. Hello. You all right? I'm a big fan of your show. It's brilliant to be on there. Yeah, I can't believe Trump's got it. I can't believe that. Can you?
I've come to terms with it. I couldn't believe it for a little while there, but now I'm sort of believing it. I mean, I suspect that foul play was involved, more over and above the foul play that we know that happened with this micro-targeting and the propaganda and the false advertising and all of that, and the lies and the lies and the lies, all of that.
I know, yeah. Big orange thing on the television. Your show's brilliant, by the way. I have to laugh. Brilliant.
Well, you've got to laugh, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm also called Nick. I'm Nick B, all right? But it's lovely to be on your show. Also saying that, hang on, UK phone call, does this sound clear to you?
Yes.
Yes, there you go. It's amazing. There you go. I'm on a well-known provider, and there you go. Yeah.
Okay, that's the good news, Nick. He's on a well-known provider, by which I think he means
booze.
That was weirdly clear. Yes, normally to get that kind of clear line, you need to be calling from outside the country. Why? I have no idea. It's absolutely extraordinary. I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Yeah.
And I record on my computer, and she is remote, because we're normally in different countries. She's normally in France. I'm normally here in London. And the reception is pretty good when she's in France. She is now, I think, 7,500 miles away, and the reception could not be clearer. It's amazing. It's like we're talking to each other in the same room, and there is no delay at all. But when she comes to London, when she is literally a couple of tube stops away from where I'm sitting, barely hear a word she says, and she fades in and out, and it's like talking to somebody on the International Space Station. You practically have to say over at the end of every sentence so they know you've stopped speaking. What the hell is wrong with this country? But you know me, I never complain.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
0345 6060 973. Battersea. Hello, Patrick.
How you doing, Nick?
Good, thanks.
All right. Having lived there and having studied American politics since I was a very young man, I can tell you categorically that generally Americans aren't very smart, especially when it comes to politics. They don't really engage until a couple of weeks before the election. And in that case, what they do is they just get snippets of this and snippets of that. And CBS, ABC, NBC have been neglectful in actually calling Trump and putting his feet to the fire the same way they have with Kamala Harris.
Yes, that is completely right. The main reason that Trump won first time is because all of the outlets that you just mentioned, they could not stop pointing their cameras at Donald Trump because he was ratings.
That's right. And that's what they've done. They've gone for ratings instead of going for what is actually truth.
Correct.
And what the American people need to see.
Yeah.
And actually analysing where America has taken itself or was taking itself.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem Americans have is that white men don't realise that now, not only in the 22 states that allow this, but now Trump is going to make sure, and D.A.D. Vance and all the other super Christians that call themselves Christians but never mention love, never mention
all the things that Jesus was about.
They never mention any of the things that Jesus was about, but continually mention Old Testament wrath and retribution and all of these things, right? All of those people are going to bring forth to America across every state women not being able to have abortions.
Well, it's way worse than that. It's way worse than that. I mean, that is bad enough.
I know. I'm getting there.
Go on.
The problem with women not having abortions is that everything that looks like an abortion is not necessarily an abortion. So an ectopic pregnancy and saving that woman from dying from a growth inside her fallopian tubes is not necessarily an abortion, but is something an obgyn would do.
Yes, but they're not doing it for fear of being accused of carrying out an abortion, of killing the baby, and then that doctor will go to jail.
Right. So what's happening now in 22 states across America is women are dying in the car parks of clinics and dying in the car parks of hospitals and bleeding out.
Correct.
Because doctors are afraid to go to jail for 10 years for helping a woman to stay alive.
That is actually happening right now, and you're not making that up, and it's not hyperbole, and it's not exaggerating. That is happening now.
That is happening. Today, okay? And that is going to be happening widespread across America. So all those white men who voted for this, who are going to be watching their daughters, their wives, their girlfriends go through this, do not realise yet that that's coming to them.
Well,
all those white women who voted for Trump do not realise that that is coming to them, their daughters, their friends, their sisters. Soon.
It's going to be kind of like living under the Taliban light. I mean, they won't go as far, but these people are they're religious extremists. I mean, but it doesn't really have anything to do. It doesn't really have anything to do with religion. It's more about controlling who women have sex with. I mean, that's what that is firmly my belief about what abortion is. It's not about the because they don't care about life. Because the same people
don't care about life.
The same people who are anti-abortion are pro the death penalty. So, so it's got nothing to do with life.
Want everybody to have guns freely available to kill children in schools, in cinemas, and in shopping centres.
The number one cause of death of children in America is getting shot.
Imagine that. So, I've always said that America loves its guns more than it loves its children.
That's absolutely true.
Right, but there, again, we have IVF. Now, these religious nuts think that IVF is a terrible thing, and Trump claims to be the father of IVF, by the way.
I know he does.
He doesn't even know what IVF stands for.
I doubt it.
IVF means that you will secure some eggs and destroy other eggs, and they consider that to be abortion.
Yeah. I know.
So
they're just off the scale. They're just off the scale, and the Americans have got no idea what it is that they just voted for.
And that's what I'm saying to you. They have no political nous whatsoever.
And they
voted this guy in because he's a populist. Now, people talk about black men vote, black this. He only got 12% of the black men vote. If I got 12% in any exam I've ever taken, I'd be totally ashamed of myself. All right? So that counts for nothing. But I still don't understand why anyone in America, much less Puerto Ricans, much less other Latinos, much less black people of any description, would vote for a man who's supported fully by the KKK, by white supremacists, by 3%ers, by any of these groups.
By groups who parade
no political nous.
No, by groups who parade through town with the actual swastika on their flags,
which is a loser flag, by the way. And the stars and bars, the Confederate flag, which is a loser flag, by the way.
Yeah,
and then they call themselves supporters of winners. They're crazy. And
yes, there is a certain crazy, but crazy or just, I think you got it right. It was poorly educated. It's a lack of information, and they don't have the same kind of information that we have. They are particularly either TV news or what they get on the internet, and the internet stuff is way more exciting than anything they see on the TV news.
That's correct.
The stuff that they get. The stuff that they get on the internet spangles their brain because it's like a drug. It's like cocaine. It just hits the same pleasure principles in the pleasure parts of their brain that cocaine does, and they just can't stop it. And people like Elon Musk, the controllers, the very few handful of moon-faced creeps who run social media, they are now the kings of the world because they are the megaphone from which most of the world now gets its information. And they decry the mainstream media. The mainstream media doesn't have any power anymore. That's not where people get their information. Kids get their information from Alex Jones and Joe Rogan and...
problem they have, Nick, is that I know this is all fireworks and bling to them, where burning embers is what we're supposed to be. Politics is supposed to be boring.
Yes.
It's supposed to be mundane.
Right.
It's supposed to bubble under everything else we do. That we do. It's not supposed to be exciting.
I mean, imagine...
It's not supposed to be about personality.
Right. Imagine you buy a ladder and you are up on the top of a ladder, and it's a very, very tall ladder. Let's say you're 2 floors up on the top of this ladder. Would you have wanted the person who designed and wrote the regulations for the safety of that ladder to be a clown, or a boring guy who was peering through spectacles with pens in his top pocket?
You're going too far. It doesn't have to be a ladder. It has to be the knife and fork that you use, that when you put them in your mouth to take the food off them, they don't poison you. The metal that's used doesn't poison you.
Right.
It's the chair that you're sitting on while you're eating.
Mm-hmm.
It's the plate that you're using to make sure that things off that plate don't poison the food on that plate and therefore poison you.
Right.
It's all these little things that are now, in America, going to be up to the manufacturers.
Yes, because we want to get rid of regulations.
Right, regulations are going out the door. So the Centre for Disease Control is going to be taken over, and they're going to allow anyone who wants to do anything they want to do it. The EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, which makes sure that forest fires happen as infrequently as possible, they're just going to be nut jobs at the front of that.
Well, it's going to be led by somebody who thinks that you stop forest fires by sweeping the forest,
right?
Which is what Donald Trump said.
Yes, it's utter nonsense. And because this idiot who stares up at an eclipse, because this idiot who decides that a hurricane's going to go where he decides it's going to go with a Sharpie, because this idiot is in control, despite the fact that he's got other people behind him who are smart but will acquiesce to his every wish.
Yes, they may be smart, but they're also evil. Don't forget
but that is why America is in real trouble now, and because America is in real trouble now, the world is in real trouble now, because Russia is going to be much more bold about what they do. Their submarines are going to be floating around our shores far more frequently than they would have been.
Because
Poland is now
backing Donald Trump. Yeah,
Poland and Finland are now going to be saying to themselves, "My God, what are we going to do?" Because NATO is now going to be a lesser force because of this man.
Patrick, everything that you're saying, I'm agreeing with. And I mean this in a nice way. I just wish you weren't saying it on my show, because I'm coming to I see the winning tape just about 12 minutes away, and now I'm stumbling around morose. But I do appreciate that. Thanks for that. Patrick and Battersea is distilling my thoughts entirely.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Come on, we're running late.
We are running late. Let's have Birmingham. Mary.
Hi there.
Mary.
Hi, I just wanted to make a few points. Firstly, on the David Lammy situation, whether or not he should apologise.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. David Lammy knows what racism is. Okay. He made those comments. I'm assuming he made them in the UK, which is a democratic country.
Yeah.
And people are allowed to have their opinions and perceptions. And I think to ask him to renege on those comments and apologise would be quite an insult.
Well, it just shows what kind of a person Donald Trump is, that people are running around petrified of what childish, vengeful thing he's going to do next. And the assumption is that he's not going to do anything for the interests of his country. He's only going to act on his own childish interests. I mean, that's the incredible thing. No other leader on earth would give you that kind of concern.
Well, yeah, but I don't think we should be. I don't think it's good to be. Anyway, I think, in my expert opinion, we can do is keep calm, carry on, hunker down, stiff upper lip. If it is going to be a nightmare, we've been through nightmares before. We've had difficult times.
Well, that is true.
We got through them. And also, Trump has made derogatory comments about Sadiq Khan, so he's no innocent.
Well, that's what the incredible thing is, that people are on, either he or his people or people on his behalf are complaining about people criticising or being rude about people. I mean, he does nothing but be rude about people. That's his whole act.
Yeah, exactly, and I just don't like this whole, we're quaking in our boots now. I think we should be better than that.
Well, we used to have the power to be able to resist when we were part of, the world's biggest trading bloc, but we decided that it would be in our best interests to leave a powerful gang and to wander lonely around the school playground, hoping that the bully wouldn't pick on us.
Well, yeah, I think it was actually one of the smarter moves Starmer's made is to kind of reset relations, make these trips to Europe.
Yeah. Well, he's got to try a lot harder. Because we're in big trouble now. If we've got to crawl across the carpet and ask for a favour from that man, then we are screwed.
Possibly. Again, I think you just sit, watch and wait sort of thing. So... Yeah, and also the other point I wanted to make was that, these so-called Christian Republicans seem to have forgotten one of Jesus' favourite or best quotes, love thy neighbour.
Well, they've forgotten all of it because they never read it in the first
place.
I've
not seen a lot of that happen.
They just pick and choose the bits that they think will suit their agenda, like, well, we don't like gays and we don't like immigrants and we don't like black people and we don't like this and we don't like that. And they define themselves by who they hate, which I'm no expert on religion, but I don't think that's what Jesus was about, spreading the word of hate. Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, Mary. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. Luke texts, I don't hear you slagging off Biden or Kamala. The great American people voted Donald in democratically. You can tell Murdoch, like the other elites, don't like the Trump. No, not the Trump. Don't like Trump. Bet you don't put this on LBC. And then Luke texts again, used to love LBC, but you slag off Trump to please Murdoch and the elites. He got voted in democratically and wish we had a English version. Another message that won't be aired, says Luke. I'll sum those arguments up for you. You're an idiot, Luke. I mean that in a helpful and positive way. Marcin says if Trump had said education, 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 he would have lost the election. Quite possibly, yeah. Rumney Valley. Dave.
Good morning.
Where's Rumney Valley?
It's about 15 miles north of Cardiff.
Ah, it sounds a delight.
It is. Now the pits have gone. It was a mining area.
Right. So that's all green and verdant.
It is. The tips are still there, but they're mostly covered with trees now.
Oh.
But, it's a very nice area. And, but I don't see that has got anything to do with your programme, which I think, not that I'm criticising what you're saying, but it's the time you're saying it.
Time?
The time to say the things you were saying about Trump was before the election.
Well, I did, over and over again, for years.
Because this is not helpful to undermine an elected government. I mean, we're in this mess. We've made worse by the Labour Party, who actively on the ground campaigned against Trump.
Yeah, well, Nigel Farage went to America to campaign against Kamala. What's the difference? Apart from Nigel Farage was apart from Nigel Farage was an actual member of Parliament, whereas the people from Labour that went over were just volunteers and staffers.
Yeah, well, the volunteers and staffers are under the auspices of the Starmer and Lamy.
They went on their own accord. It wasn't Labour policy. What difference does it make? Nigel Farage did worse.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's an act of war, interfering in another country's election.
It wasn't. But okay. So what did Nigel Farage do?
He's exactly the same.
Right. Bingo.
Yeah,
but worse, because he's an MP. He's supposed to be representing his constituents, not gallivanting around on the stage with the screaming Mimi.
But the thing is that we are advocating a sensible way of looking at things and governing, and then we do these illegal
it wasn't illegal.
exercises.
There's nothing illegal about it.
Yes, there is.
No, there wasn't.
If you got somebody from Putin's Russia coming in here and advocating a different policy, a different MP, a different party, then we would have enough to say. And,
but the two aren't connected. You said if someone from Putin's circle, I can't remember the exact phrase you used, but you implied that Putin would have sent them. But they weren't sent by the Labour Party. They decided
they were sent by Lamy and Starmer.
You're just making that up.
Which is tantamount to the same thing.
No, it would be if that was true, but you're just making that up.
No, I'm not.
Of course you are. Where did you get that information?
I heard Starmer advocating it on wireless.
Advocating? What do you mean? He said all our workers should go over there and help defeat the Tangerine Nightmare.
If you can go there.
I don't believe that he said that.
Yeah, well, I just believe I heard it.
Okay. Do you have a history of hearing things, or is it just restricted to this particular thing? What difference does it make, Dave? What difference does it make? I mean, the Labour Party would be associated with the Democrats anyway. Any fool know that, so they'd be more likely to be rooting for the Democrats because that's their natural stablemates. So if it was a reasonable person that the Americans had just elected, we wouldn't be so concerned. We would not be so concerned, would we?
Well, let's be honest, we never have had a special relationship with America.
Well, only in our minds.
It was all a policy of Churchill's mother. And,
of who?
Churchill. Winston Churchill, remember?
Right. Well, I thought you said Putin. It's probably the phone line that put me off. Churchill's mother. Well, the special relationship with America is something that only exists in our minds. Americans have never heard of it. And, moreover, wouldn't be able to pinpoint us on a map. Dave, it's been inspirational. Keep on doing what you're doing. Got to go.